This is S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry. I just love that music. I get into it. So, greetings, folks, and welcome to S4, where we talk about the real issues involving paranormal and current events, coming to you live from the S4 headquarters in the heart of the Cascade Mountains of Washington State. We also cover topics, like tonight, such as disaster and terrorist response and preparation and veterans issues as appropriate, which is coming up. Memorial Day is coming up, I believe in May, is it not? Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll actually be talking, have some veterans on the show and talk about the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day like we always do. And still, people get confused by what the difference is. Anyway, so tonight it's the 26th of April. And can you believe it'll be in May on Friday? Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about May 1st here in a little bit. Because, folks, we've said this since February. Stay the hell home. This isn't a damn conspiracy. It's not a fake flu. No, it's a real. I mean, you know, the states that shut down and then reopened because, oh my God, it's not real. They shut down again. Why? Because their death numbers went up. Imagine that. Anyway, so this is the 100-year plague. It really is. When you look at 100 years ago, when they had the Spanish flu, they locked the country down. Imagine that. You know how history repeats itself? Well, there you go. It's going to repeat itself because y'all ain't listening. So tonight,
I'm pretty sure our listeners there are listening. It's probably their neighbors.
I hope so. I really do, but you know what? When you go to the store, you see all these dumbasses just walking around like there's nothing going on.
Hey, yeah.
Tim. But you know, so tonight we're actually talking fires, wildfires, drought, because along with pandemic, if this was not a pandemic going on right now, our fires have gone up.
Oh yeah.
Our wildfires have gone up, and although the rain just started, and that's great for the garden, you know, we have drought coming in July. Is about into June.
That was a way different rain, though.
Huh?
That was a way different rain.
It soaked the garden.
It was a beautiful rain. Like it came down heavy and hard.
Right.
And the smell was just amazing.
Oh, it was fresh air.
Till I had a smoke.
But wait, Cole.
As always.
I'm sorry if you live in the city. It probably doesn't smell the same. We live in the mountains. We have mountain rain. Hey, there's a big difference. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
It doesn't smell as bummish.
Huh?
It didn't smell as bummish as usual.
So we're going to also be talking heat exhaustion, heat stroke. You know, we're coming into the summer. Not quite, but we're getting there. So it's that time of the season when we actually start talking disaster preparedness with the season. And our guest tonight, he won't be on until the second hour, but he's a very dear friend of mine. I served with him in Illesheim, Germany. He was what's called an egg poo mechanic. So an egg poo mechanic, now I'll introduce him real quick. It's AGPU, and it looks like a box on wheels. And we were an Apache unit. So when egg poo is used, it turns a turbine. And it helps start the Apache. So it was a very specific job.
Cool.
But today, and for I don't know how long, I'll let him introduce more. But he is today on advanced EMT with New Mexico Fire Department. So he's got wildland fire experience. He's got fire experience as well as an advanced EMT. I need to give a real quick shout out while we're on too. We have new listeners in Costa Rica. So we watch our numbers, folks, on who listens to the show, and we get a country listing of what countries are listening to the show. So if I don't, give you, I've probably given your country a shout out before you actually listened, because you've got more people in Norway, you've got more people in France, whatnot. But I've never seen Costa Rica.
I want to know how they're able to actually see the screen to tune in. Because if I lived in Costa Rica, they're the best rum makers in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be sober enough to actually see the screen.
Well, maybe they can send us a bottle.
I'm there.
Anyways, we thank you for listening to the show, folks in Costa Rica, and we have returning listeners in Pakistan and Mexico. Mexico, we don't see too often. It comes up every once in a rare while, which I think is cool because they're our neighbors to the south. What?
Nothing.
Oh, tequila?
There's a joke there.
Oh. So, yeah, I always like to look at our the new countries that listen to the show, and that's great. Cole, you got an announcement.
Yes. So, throughout the month of May, we are going to be doing some major promos. So, we can't get to you guys, obviously. All conferences and everything for this year are probably canceled. So, we are going to be giving away some S4 swag bags with various things in them. And the way you win those is you will send an email to s4radiowinner@gmail.com. And you will write in a paranormal experience, yours or someone's you know. Doesn't matter. You also are required to like us on Facebook in order to be eligible to win. So make sure you go to the S4 Paranormal Radio Facebook page and give us a like. Every week we will pick one winner from the group, and we will out of a hat. So it's not the best story, but just anyone can win this. And then we will also take one of the best stories that we find, and we will actually give them. We'll talk about their story on the air. So make sure you head on over to the S4 Paranormal Radio Facebook page, and the email will be on there tonight, so you can actually write it down and send us out an email for next week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I know, so next week we have Chris Garcia. He's a psychic and clairvoyant.
Yep.
I can't remember if he's written books or...
No, he has no published works at the
Okay. So we'll just be talking psychics and the paranormal.
Yeah.
And maybe he can give us a prediction on what's going to happen for the rest of the year.
He's very interested in missing persons. He's
excellent. So we'll talk missing persons and psychics.
Yeah.
And then I'm excited. Rosilla C. Rowe contacted me after the show last week, and she's going to be on the 10th. Now, Rosilla is the author for Gypsy Publications. She has had several children's books out. She's working. She has a current works, Paranormal 911, I believe it is. Sounds like an interesting read. It's a nonfiction.
Is she a gypsy?
I don't know. We'll have to ask her on the 10th.
Does she know how to do that thinner thing? Because I could use that. I think during this whole lockdown, everyone could probably use that.
Oh, I'm sure everyone's gained at least 10 pounds sitting around the house. But she's also the keynote speaker for a Haunted Ireland cruise. Look that up, folks. We'll be talking about that a lot. She'll be plugging that a lot on the 10th. And she has My Haunted Travel blog. So I'm sure you can Google that and find it. I don't have the link for it right in front of me. But again, we'll be talking a lot more about that on the 10th. So be looking for Rosilla C. Rowe. So, like I said, we've been having a lot more fires in the last, 3 weeks now? Because it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Back there's a fire truck here in Cape Horn here yesterday with an ambulance. I would also look at that and say it might be an aid call. Here's my pet peeve, folks. And I love all first responders. They're great. And they've got these. We were just talking about this. So they've got special funding for first responders. But what about our volunteer fire departments? What about our volunteer first responders? They don't get paid. And they don't get, personally, I think there should be some kind of a stipend right now because they should be getting hazard pay just like your paid fire departments do. There is no reason, they're just at risk coming to our fires as volunteers, as your, Mount Vernon Fire Department does, who's on a payroll, on 24-hour duty. Yeah, you know what? The minute Grassmere or Birdsview shows up, their clock should start, and they should be on a payroll. As long as there's a pandemic going on, they should be paid first responders. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. I don't care. But it is what it is. I think about the fire the other night that we were at, and there were 6 fire trucks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what? All these guys, like, every firefighter is important, but volunteer ones, we were talking to one of them at the end of the fire after they were all done, and they had been on 8 calls that day.
That's when I was with Grassmere, we might get a call a week. Well, 2 or 3 calls a week.
But the thing is, 8 calls that day, and the guy had just finished an 8-hour shift at actual work.
I know.
Like, and yet they get nothing for doing this.
No, they're volunteer.
That's insane.
And kudos to them. It takes a special person to volunteer to go running into a burning building. I think the worst ones are the CPR calls, and I think most of them would agree with me because, the ratio of actually resuscitating someone on a CPR call is 20%. It's really low.
Yeah, it's not great.
So, we're going to start off because we're kind of waiting for our guest to get off work. He's actually getting off his fire shift in New Mexico. So we're going to go over and, some of you have seen my hazard assessment for upriver. Now, this is for upriver, our community, but you can take this, whether you're in Australia, because they had all those wildfires, and I think they're out now, but was it last year that Australia was burning?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can take this information to your own community. So, here's what you do. As soon as you move, as soon as you get into a new state, new country, you want to get a hold of your local emergency management, or even talk to your neighbors because they'd be able to tell you too. But what are the disasters in your immediate area? What do you need to watch out for? What you need to prepare for? So for those of us upriver, and we don't have that many locals that actually listen to us we have a few. But it kind of surprised me because we had one here a couple weeks ago that's never heard of the Cascadia Subduction Zone.
Ooh.
But she was in the chat room asking about it. And these are things you need to know about. And we'll talk about earthquakes and volcanoes and things like that on another show, maybe in the summer. So the first assessment on my list is volcano, because it's on the DEM's or the Washington State Emergency Management's high list risk. And it's Glacier Peak over Darrington and Mount Baker. Mm-hmm. And lahars, believe it or not, are possible anytime without interruption. All lahar is a mud flow. You get a heavy rain, it's kind of like a landslide. But you get a heavy rain, it comes down, it goes down the same lava chute and into the Skagit River. They're rare, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh my God, you better look out for one now because it's raining. No, not at all. They are rare, landslides aren't. But lahar, volcanic lahars at random are. And before anyone says, oh, you guys are fear-mongering, because, I get that a lot. No, we don't want you to be afraid of these threats. We want you to be prepared for them. That's the bottom line.
Everybody in every community should know what happens in their community as far as disasters.
A lot of them don't.
And have a plan set up just in case something does happen.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's going to. It means that it has happened sometime in the last 1,000 years, and you should probably be prepared for the fact that it could potentially happen at some point.
And, your kids are home. This is a perfect time to pull your kids together, look at your emergency action plan, which we'll go over here in a little bit, and because they're not going back to school, right? So take their book bags that they were using for school and use that for your go bag. That's what we've done. And in that bag, you're going to put a little flashlight. You're going to put a little miniature, a mini first aid kit with some Band-Aids. Huh?
Pop-Tart.
A Pop-Tart. Fully agree.
Well, two.
Yeah. I believe in doubles. So, yeah. In my bag, and we'll go over what to put in your vehicle, because we use my vehicle as a perfect example, because, I get bitched at because it's got too much stuff. We can't put the groceries in. Yeah. I'm guilty of that a little bit.
No, you're a little excessive, I will say, okay? The 10-man tent doesn't need to be in there.
No, it's not. So the 10-man
anymore.
tent is in the garage.
Now it is.
Oh, yeah. But, okay. But what does go in my truck, we'll go in that later. Kids' book bags. So take the kids' book bags. You want, like I said, a miniature first aid kit, Band-Aids, some triple antibiotic ointment, maybe a triangular bandage, which is nothing more than a bandana. You can use that for a tourniquet. I would put medication. I'm thinking as I'm going here because I don't have a list in front of me. I have lists, but
Well, you're going to want a set of clothes, a change of clothes.
A change of clothes. I was getting there.
I'm sorry.
No. Interject. Obviously, interject. But yeah, change of clothes. I would put a fire starter in there, whether it's a lighter or even a finger saw, because a finger saw causes enough friction to actually start a fire.
Book of matches.
I wouldn't do matches. So
Depends on
kids,
how old your kids are.
Here's the deal. You teach your kids how to use this stuff properly. You don't have to worry about it. I would put it in my kid's bag, for example. If my stuff got wet, I've got a backup in their bag. Because 9 out of 10 times, we're going to be with our kids when we all grab our bags and run. Mm-hmm. And candy. Yeah, you can laugh, but you need sugar pickups, especially when you're moving fast and moving along. Beef jerky. I like Top Ramen. I like Cup of Noodles.
Trail mix.
And
water.
And I like granola bars. Because granola bars, they're not protein, but they're quick energy. A couple bottles of water, maybe. You don't want to make it too heavy, but a couple bottles of water to get you going. And then you can find a stream.
Either that, or you can just put one of they're a little more expensive, but you can stick a life straw or empty.
Life straws are great.
Yeah.
You can find those on Amazon. And again, so I have probably about 100 gigs worth of material just on Homeland Security information, terrorism information, investigative kits, every aspect of disaster, every aspect of emergency management, missing people. You can always email me at medicineeagle, MEDICYNE_eagle @yahoo.com. Contact me on Facebook, whatever. I could always, if you're local, get me a thumb drive. I can throw all this on a thumb drive and you've got it all. But get your go bags for you, any significant other, anyone in the family. And like I said, use your kids' book bags. They're not going back to school.
This year.
Yeah, okay.
Do not say I am stuck with those four for the rest of my life.
No.
Well, you are. Really?
Okay.
So, consider the extended summer vacation. And we don't know what's going to happen over the summer. We really don't. And again, it's not fear-mongering. just be prepared for whatever.
I don't give a crap. I'm dropping them off at the school September 1st. Whether they're open or not, I'll go get them at 4.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. They could have fun with little computers and shit.
Yeah.
So weapons. Let's talk weapons real quick, because our kids do carry pocket knives.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Our kids are trained in slingshots, blowguns, basics.
Throwing knives.
Throwing knives and bow and arrow.
Throwing knives and bow and arrow for the older ones, but...
Firearms, I don't trust any kid with a firearm to their, at least show that mental capacity of knowing how to use it properly. And 14 might be the age. Might. Again, it goes by
your child and how developed they are and whether or not you feel safe with them.
Oh, absolutely. And, weapon safety is priority before they're even going to hold a BB gun. And hey, Meg, good to see you in the chat room. So Meg is our guest for the 10th.
Yep, 2 weeks from now.
And Dennis, good to see you in as usual. So we just talked
Jennifer,
about...
welcome back.
Huh?
Jennifer as well, welcome back.
Yep, Joe, I'm sorry, it scrolled. Yeah, Jennifer, a local. Love to see you in here. Always good to see locals because this really applies to you guys. It applies anywhere nationwide, international, but what we're talking about tonight really applies to locally. So we just talked about volcanoes a little bit, threat mitigation, CERT team. So we actually started a CERT team up here, it ended like in March because they had to do the social distancing. They canceled all CERT team training. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. The Map Your Neighborhood program, we'll talk about it in a little bit too. That's a little more detailed. Volcano education, know how to respond to volcano threats, how to mitigate that threat. And again, we'll do that on another show. Your family EAP, emergency action plan and kits. We talked about that a little bit. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Dams. So, folks, we have 5 dams up here.
Damn.
5. We have the upper and lower Baker dams, which hold back Lake Shannon and Baker Lake. And then we have Ross, Gorge, and Diablo Dam, which Seattle City Light runs up above New Halem, which holds back, I think it's Gorge Lake, Diablo Lake,
and Ross.
Mm-hmm. I had to do a paper on this for Homeland Security for my bachelor's. Actually, I think it was for my associates on that one. And the study I did was disturbing to say the least, because if all 5 dams break, you're talking a 30-foot wall of water that's coming down the river valley here. So when you look at the evacuation routes, there is no evacuation signs that I've ever seen up here.
There are in Hamilton, Lyman area.
Well, they're closer to the dams. That makes sense. But if you're coming up 20, you're a tourist, which we don't have to worry about that this year because there's no tourist season. There's nothing pointing up Baker Lake Road, which is where I would head.
No, the signs aren't on 20. They are on the side roads.
Yep, you'll find the evacuation signs on the side roads.
They should be up 20. They really should.
Oh, nobody cares about the tourists.
That's just ridiculous, though. But my main concern is all the evacuation routes for a concrete area are pointing up Burpee Hill. Folks, and you can interject a little bit here, Cole, with the seismic... The seismic you were talking about with the rumbling of water flow that would cause that slide. My concern is you have the whole town of Concrete and maybe even Birdsview trying to go up Burpee Hill. You're not going to make it. That hill, folks, has been sliding, documented sliding, and you can go on Skagit history and actually see where it's documented that it's been sliding since the 1900s. It's always a slide risk. You talk about the roar of water from even just upper lower and Baker, it's going to take that hill out. And that's where PSC and Seattle City Light, I'll tell you to go.
I'd make it.
Would you?
I'm a Wegleitner. If it has one engine, I can drive it. And I can make it anywhere.
You're on the south side of the river. That's a big difference. You've got the mountain right here to go up.
I took you places in a Honda Odyssey from the 1990s
That was uncomfortable.
it shouldn't have went anywhere that we went.
That was on a Bigfoot trip.
You're telling me that was uncomfortable. You should be in the focus.
No. So, you want to scout these places out. You want to find out what's gated and what's not, because the last thing you want is to try to evacuate, get your family to safety, and find out that this road's got a gate on it. And you have a small car that's not going to be able to crush that gate. Yeah. Hope you can run. So, that's part of your emergency action plan. You want to have your go bag made. You want to have your plan with your family. You want to have an outside contact. So for me, Dan says, you should not camp near a stream or riverbank. People do.
Yeah.
And again, so honestly, the dams breaking aren't a real major threat. Now, if we have an earthquake, yes. We have a terrorist attack, which they are in infrastructure, so they are on a terrorist list. Yes. But am I going to sit and worry about it? No.
I don't suggest camping on any beach or riverbank without there being a 4-foot height difference from you to the river.
Well, absolutely, because you never know when they're going to release water from the dams,
That's right.
too. And they don't really warn you. Just like it reminds me of the flood we had 2 years ago where the river was already flooded, and then they released water from the dams. Now, was it their fault? No. They kind of had to because the water was actually rising on the dams as well. So if they didn't, it could cause a rupture. So they had to release water. They released about 2 more foot of water out of the dams, which brought the river level up an additional 2 to 3 feet, which actually caused flooding in areas that normally probably wouldn't have gotten flood, to include Cape Horn. Mm-hmm. And they were warned. And a guy still got stuck on his roof because his house flooded. The main point here is know what the threats are and know how to mitigate them. So with the dams, yes, you have the Puget Sound Energy with Lake Shannon Baker, Gorge, Ross, and Diablo, which has Ross Lake and Diablo Lake. So how do you mitigate them? You know the damn warning sirens. And I mean damn warning sirens, not damn warning sirens. No, yeah. So they go off. They test them. A lot of people complain they can't hear them, but it's got like a whooping noise. So when the fire department alarm goes off, it makes a siren.
Have you seen that new kids movie, Abominable?
No. I haven't seen that one yet.
So they're trying to collect Bigfoot and, a Yeti. And
right.
The guy has these rare snakes, and they're called a whooping snake. And they pop their heads up and they go, whoop!
Oh, kind of like the damn siren. Yeah. So I remember, I think it was last year.
I know I'm a weirdo.
No, you're fine. But was it last year or 2 years ago when they actually put the new damn siren in?
That's been
2 years
ago.
It's 2 years ago.
Up at Cedar
Because
Grove.
I was in the wheelchair and...
Okay. Because I think Cedar Grove got one and Birdsview got a new one.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. There's tons of them.
They put in at least 30 of them around the area because around my mother-in-law's place in Birdsview, they put up 3 at the same time and they tested them on separate days, and you could hear them loud as a bell, clear.
You can't hear them now.
Well, because now they put them all together, but they're all at different distances away from the house.
Okay.
So sound, like anything else, takes time to travel.
Right. And the water's going to be at you by the time you hear it.
Well, no, but it all comes at different times. So it's doing it in round. Like, when you used to, in like grade school, you used to sing songs in round?
Right.
That's what it's doing, but it's so jarbled, you can't hear anything.
Yeah. So it makes a whooping noise, and then you hear a loud, what I call the God voice, because it's this loud voice that says, "This is a test."
Oh my God, I wish they got Morgan Freeman to do that. That would
Right.
be amazing.
But I mean, I can't hear it in my house. It's right down the road. But I do think they turned the volume down for the testing anyway. The initial test they did, they had it really loud. Everybody was freaking out because they didn't really give much of a warning. Some people got a letter, some people didn't, and the ones that didn't were going, "What's that noise? Do I need to worry?" It sounds like something science fiction-y.
It does, kind of.
So again, know your the evacuation routes. Have one of your own planned. Burpee Hill's a slide risk. Don't use it. CERT team, map your neighborhood program, EAPs, and community education are your main mitigations for that threat. Yes, Jennifer, the voice is unintelligible. It absolutely is. And it's tested, I believe...
every Monday.
It's not every Monday. It's like a second, fourth, or...
Yeah, they only test that one once a month.
Yeah,
oh, well,
it's a once a month on a Monday night, 6 o'clock. So if you hear a God voice and a whoop whoop on a Monday night at 6 o'clock, it's just a damn siren. And then I think the second and fourth that the Grassmere Fire Department tests their sirens. Kind of like a McDonald's speaker, kind of, yeah. Dennis. Power outages. So that's normally a winter thing we go through, but it does happen in the summertime because, well, trees still go down on the lines and whatnot. So there is no emergency warm-up shelter up here for the winter months. Needs to be one. They worked on it. Hopefully there'll be another one for next year with the Mount Baker Presbyterian Church. We will see. So threat mitigation. Make sure you have a generator. If you're new to the upriver community, or if you live in any community that's prone to have power outages, make sure you get a generator. You want to talk about generator safety real quick?
Oh, I need a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking. So education on what to do for a power outage for sure. Warm-up facility needs to be brought up because there should be a warm-up facility for power outages, that is. Make sure you know your neighbors, folks. That's important too. Know who's elderly. Know who's disabled. Know who's got kids. That way you can check on them, especially if for the elderly and disabled. Now, we're in a different kind of environment today because of this pandemic. So do you want to check on your neighbors? That's what's unique, is being in a pandemic era. If there's a disaster, you have to respond differently.
Definitely.
Because, how do I even explain this? You still have to worry about the 6 foot, 6 foot distance between people. You still don't want to get the virus. And folks, we are a conspiracy show. But do I think this pandemic was caused by the Democrats to keep Trump from getting back into office? Absolutely freaking not. This is a global pandemic, folks. A global pandemic. You really think the Democrats, with their scheming little minds, got together and planned a virus in China to keep Trump from making, presidency in 2020? Absolutely freaking not. This is a natural virus. This is a natural occurrence. Coronavirus is the common cold. This is a mutation of that virus. Do I think it was created in a lab? I don't know. I don't have any proof of that. Nobody's got any proof of that. But, again, stop listening to every random doctor that comes out and says, this is fake. I listen to the CDC. I listen to local county health department. That's who I listen to. That's where I get my information from. Now, if some random stupid doctor sitting in California who says, well, I've been a doctor for 20 years in the emergency room, but I took a special little class on virology. I know all about this virus. No, you don't. You're taking your statistics straight from your clinic. That doesn't mean it's the same in the rest of California or the same across the nation. So, yeah.
All right, sorry guys. I was just putting up a promo on there for our giveaways, so make sure you look at that in the chat room. So for generator safety.
Real quick, because I think some of our listeners don't know how to get to the chat room. So to get to the chat room, there's a little message bubble. That's where the chat room is.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the page when you bring up the show.
Just click the message bubble, and it'll bring you into the chat room.
Now, for generator safety, you want to make sure your generator is serviced every year. This is the time of year that you do it. Well, you know what? There's places like Camping World that are still open to do it. It's usually only about $100 to service a generator. If you're able to do it yourself, you just drain the oil, change the filter, and
what kind of oil?
It depends on the generator.
So look at your service manual. Look at your operator's manual. Look at your buyer's guide. The little booklet that came with the generator will tell you specifically what kind of oil to put in.
Yeah, if you don't have that, you can find them online. There's lots of websites that keep the owner's manuals of all those type of things online, so you can easily access them. You want to change your spark plug. You want to clean your air filter. If it needs changing, change it. Just regular maintenance that you would do for any engine. Also, when you set up your generator near your house, if it's a home generator, you don't have to worry about this because the company that you bought it from has done it for you.
That's what I want. That's one of those ones that they're more spendy. What,
Yeah.
2,000-3,000?
No, you want, like, if you're going to buy one of those, you want to spend $5,000 to $7,000.
Okay.
And you want something that's actually going to power your home. Because otherwise, you may as well just buy a house like a
stimulus check.
Right?
Oh, yes.
If you just have a portable generator, you want to make sure the exhaust is facing away from your house. If you put the generator inside of a box to keep it quiet, you want to line that box with fire retardant insulation and make sure that there is enough room around it so that it will not burn through the wooden box, and as well as you want to make sure there is some kind of exhaust port for the exhaust to come out of, because if you don't, you will blow that engine immediately almost.
Well, and the big threat too, never put it inside your home. Never burn a barbecue stove inside your home. You're going to die of monoxide poisoning. Just bottom line.
Unless you don't have a roof, then you're cool.
Tornado? Oh, well.
No, I know some people who got the money to buy a house and they built 3 walls and they said, that's good.
Yeah, I remember you told me that story.
I know of a few homes like that.
Oh. So, and again, if you want a copy of my hazard assessment upriver, I can give it to you anytime. I've got the mitigation. When I sent it to my professor, he's like, "Oh my God, dude, this is a shotgun blast to any emergency manager. You got to have mitigations in there." So I added mitigations, but it's still about 8 pages. We do live in a high risk environment up here, but most of us.
Dennis, you have a question. You had you were asked, or not? You weren't asking, but you had a thought about a Jeep with a exhaust pipe that rose above the vehicle. If you want a example of how that's a good thing to have, go to YouTube and look up 4x4 mud bog videos. There is a reason for those, and it's a very good one most of the time. It makes it so you can actually literally go through a full-size river that's about 9-10 feet deep, and
it's got a fording. Yeah.
Yeah, and the exhaust pipe goes straight up into the top, and it actually makes you so you can drive right straight through that river and not have an issue.
Right.
Water, if it's about 40 feet wide, the water by the time you cross the river will be up to your waist.
That's the Army ambulance. So the M997 we had. I don't remember what they call them. Damn it.
Exhaust baffles.
No. So basically, if your exhaust is above your engine, you can ford.
And there's a nickname for them. But I
can't remember what it is. Anyway, moving along. So again, also make sure you check the ratings that you're plugging in. If you're plugging a freezer in, make sure that generator can handle the capacity of what you're plugging into it.
And just remember, your starting wattage does not matter. It is your running watts that matter. Like you want to make sure it can actually run that much. If you are buying if you look online at any generator store's website, they will have the wattage that each of your devices in your home takes, and you add those together, and then you want to buy a generator that goes at least 200 watts over that.
Right.
So normally, like a good generator is about 75,000 or 7,500 running watts. That is a good sized generator for a home.
7,500.
Yeah, like when you get into the home generators that we were talking about earlier, you're looking at they're running 20,000 watts,
right?
So that they can power pretty much anything.
Absolutely. So the next one's kind of near and dear to my heart too, because it's actually happening today, and that's the high crime rate and the lack of law enforcement. Now, what's interesting? So, if you're living upriver, obviously you know that it's a really slow response with law enforcement, with the county sheriff.
We don't have enough donut shops up here.
Really? That's where you're going to go with?
Yes.
Maybe so what's interesting is I actually saw 3 deputies up here yesterday, which is kind of rare for a Saturday. We usually have maybe 1. And because of this pandemic, they're really not responding to property crimes. I know that for a fact because I know 2 people personally who have had stuff stolen. Called in, the deputies, and they took a report over the phone. They never even showed up. They're letting people out of the prisons. They're really not taking too many people into the prisons. Not. Aren't they?
No, not
Washington
anymore.
State, the Supreme Court denied that.
Then I stand corrected. But they're not bringing new people in.
Our prisons. Other states, they have, but our prison, the Supreme Court denied the right to actually do that.
Okay.
Yeah, split decision, but yep. Anyway.
That's a good thing.
Still denied.
I know.
So, slow response with high crime. This leads to, vigilante justice. I can't
It's
publicly...
illegal at vigilante if someone knows about it.
Well, absolutely.
Oh, hey, okay.
What?
And Dennis says the feds left the release in the hands of ICE. Let me talk about ICE real quick.
That's great.
So a lot of people are confused by what the job of ICE is. And ICE is immigration. Immigration Customs Enforcement. So a lot of people get them confused with Border Patrol. Border Patrol is not ICE. Border Patrol is a CBP, the Customs Border Protection. They are the ones that actually control immigration at the border. ICE is the Homeland Security's version of intelligence. They are the intelligence arm for every aspect of Homeland Security. So they cover human trafficking. They cover weapons and drug smuggling. You'll see them upriver because, well, we have a lot of drug and weapons and human trafficking up here. We have open borders up here. There's parts of these borders up here that you can very easily get across.
And you can accidentally get across that. So if you happen to be driving on one of these old gravel roads, and all of a sudden you see Canadian flags instead of U.S. flags, turn around. Come back.
Yeah. I hope you don't get
It is
caught
a really
on the way
long
back
process to be pulled over, detained, and asked why in the hell you weren't up there.
Actually, if you're already across and you see the Canadian flag up above you, I wouldn't suggest turning around. You get caught running back in, and it's an even longer process. Just saying.
Yeah, it sucks, okay? Grew up in Deming. Once or twice I've been across that border on an accidental basis on a 4-wheeler of all things. And yeah, it's a very long detention process.
Right?
Okay, so
Jennifer needs to calm down with her vigilantiness.
Okay, so
That is the word of the day.
Vigilantiness. I like it. Hey, I'm going to throw something out there just because we were talking about all the kids being at home and everything else. And I know this isn't disaster preparedness, but there's one thing that really, really bothers me. And it's lice. Okay?
Huh?
Lice. Kids with lice.
Yeah,
Lice and
yeah,
lice
yeah.
and lice. And if you got your kids at home and they aren't going back to school anytime soon, treat
them
their
now.
hair.
Yep.
Treat their hair, get the lice out. Let's eradicate it. Let's get it out of our schools because
Scene's
I
ready,
am
by the way.
tired of it jumping
ready.
back and forth from child to
The Tssinnie is
child.
ready.
We'll call him in at the...
Yeah, so we'll have Tssinnie on top of the second hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, and absolutely, because I know specifically in our school district up here, lice has always been a huge issue. It took us a year to get rid of our lice problem. And that wasn't for lack of cleanliness. That was us trying everything in the book to get rid of it. And Dennis, Mad Max, I completely agree. It was so eerie walking into Chuck E. Cheese to pick up some kids' buckets for the kids and seeing all the video games on, but nobody was there. I was waiting for zombies to come running around. No.
Oh, God.
It was just weird.
I would not want to see a zombie dressed up as Chucky. Like
No.
the Chuck E. Cheese mouth zombie.
Can you imagine
No,
that
thanks. No thanks. Mascot zombies.
And that reminds me. So, Anthony. Oh, and by the way, I got to give a shout out to Cheyenne and Anthony because they're probably listening if they're not playing Fortnite. But Anthony is heavily now into zombies. We're watching Z Nation, as a matter of fact. And so, Z Nation, you need to check out. It's on Netflix, and it's all filmed and based around Washington State. A lot of people don't get that. But my talent agent that I actually work with was in charge of all the extras and all the zombies for Z Nation. So, yeah, check that show out. It's done now. I think they did 8 seasons and it ended. Mm-hmm. But it was a really good show. And I just now got into it. I don't know why. I never went and acted in that one either. The pedophile rate. Let's talk about that for a second, because that's recently come up. So, again, they don't release pedophiles' addresses for you to go harass them. I'm going to say that right up front. But make sure you contact law enforcement, like was done for the recent case. If someone approaches your children, take a picture, get details of them, details of their vehicle, and report it.
And I'm just going to say, hey, you are the parent. You are the parent of your child. Make sure that your child is safe. Make sure that you know where they're going and what they're doing. You have to be vigilant and you have to look out for your kids.
Absolutely. Especially right now. And we were talking about this the other day too, is go work in your yard. This pandemic doesn't mean you can't go outside. It means you just can't go around other people. Keep your distance. It doesn't mean you can't go out and plant a garden and work in your yard, walk around the neighborhood. Get outside, get fresh air. So, threat mitigation for high crime. Obviously, a neighborhood block watch. So what I was going to do this year too, which obviously got canceled, was have a night out. It's called Night Out. It's an organization that endorses community policing. Community policing is when your local law enforcement, you have, you could go down you can set up a barbecue with the entire community and have law enforcement come and talk about block watch, talk to your kids about what the job of a policeman is. Have the fire department come down, set up a fire truck, but it kind of got scrapped because we can't do any events. Citizen patrol program implemented. Well, that got scrapped too because cops don't want citizens in cars driving around neighborhoods. That's a good way to get shot anyway. So that's one reason we have the Upriver group. So if you see someone casing your property, if you have something stolen, you post it. You get details of the vehicle so we can all watch for them. That
You
doesn't
call
mean
the police first, though.
absolutely dial 911 first. So Dennis says everyone is sharing their experience over Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Some are doing fun stuff, and others are continuing pandemic tips so they keep themselves visible during this emergency and help out others. Cooking tops the list. I don't cook, so I would suck at that one. And we actually thought about doing a community meeting through either YouTube or Facebook Live or something like that, just to get emergency information out. Earthquakes. And we're going to pull Tssinnie in here in about 9 minutes. So, that's why they're posting cooking tips. Well, yeah, don't burn yourself. There.
Well, then I have a question for the chat room.
Okay.
How much vodka do you add to mashed potatoes? Because I've been wondering. Anybody have an answer for that?
Yeah, this is why you're not allowed to cook. That's
Really?
the answer to that. This is why I make dinners.
Oh, vodka and potatoes? No wonder all your kids are asleep already.
Wow, hey. 3.4 cups.
Damn.
Or 3 to 4 cups.
Thank you, Dennis.
Excellent. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, so earthquakes. Our biggest earthquake we have that's a threat that hasn't happened yet is the Cascadia subduction zone. It stretches actually from Vancouver Island all the way to California. It goes through the Puget Sound and the San Juan Islands. So basically there are two plates being held by one little chip of rock. It's been that way for years.
Forever.
Once that chip of rock breaks off, we are projected by scientific studies of this to have a 9.0 earthquake.
Honestly, if that ever happens for us living here in the Pacific Northwest, the whole Pacific Northwest, there's not much you can prepare for that. Just kind of put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye, because that one's going to be a bit... I'm not kidding.
For real?
Yeah. We have 5 dams around us.
I know.
I do not believe 2 of them will make it through. Maybe one. Maybe one would make it through that.
So, if you look at it logically...
Hey, no, because you got to think. Hey, Mount Baker is also a volcano as well, right?
But it's going to be a 9.0 in the ocean, in the bay. By the time it reaches here, we'll probably be looking at a 5.0, 6.0.
No, not with the distance from the
think so?
Cascadia subduction line to here. It would be more of a 7.3 to an 8. By the time
You're
we get
just
up.
a big full of Joe, ain't you?
I'm sorry, I'm just saying. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
And then, like, you've got that, then also that subduction zone cracking could cause Baker to go.
It could.
Like, there's so many
Peak.
possibilities. Yeah, like, we screwed, dude. But then you've got the tsunami as well coming in.
Oh, you still got it. So I still say have your go bags ready to go. Have your vehicles packed.
And go where the pass is closed.
Oh, stop it.
Dude.
Jesus.
I've got the mountain behind me. I'm heading up the mountain.
You gonna get hit by a lava rock from Baker.
No, I'm not. I will be just fine. My family will be just fine. Your family will be just fine because you're coming with us. You know that.
He can
10 feet behind you to avoid that lava rock.
And start kissing his ass goodbye while we truck
Right,
over
you're getting in the van and heading up to our house.
Good luck.
So
I've seen you drive. You won't make it there.
Oh, truth is truth.
So again, with threat mitigation. Oh, no. Jennifer. Don't go up Sauk. No. Because I hate to break it to you, but Sauk is actually a volcanic vent for Baker. So I wouldn't go up Sauk. We can talk offline. But No,
If
because
it's vented properly, you could end up in eastern Washington, but you might not make the trip down.
a flying Subaru.
Yeah.
So
Bed knobs and
mitigation.
broomsticks.
So again, you want to identify structures that don't fit code for earthquakes. Well, we're kind of screwed on that because our house was built in the 70s. Community drills done for all threats, not just for first responders in these drills. I don't want to go down that rabbit. It's not even a rabbit hole, but I don't want to go down that bitch because there has never been a full-out community drill up here. There needs to be. They have emergency management and state patrol and the fire departments, and
There's been one.
they have drills.
There's been one.
Oh, when?
Right after the War of the Worlds broadcast.
Yes.
Oh, back in the 1940s? Yeah, that was back in the 1940s. Yeah,
That was a drill.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
they thought it was real.
Everybody, grab your horse and buggy.
Right. Head up Burpee Hill. Yeah,
Oh,
with
God.
your horse and buggy.
But avoid the aliens.
Aliens die by shotgun.
Yeah.
They really do.
I think
So-
everything dies by shotgun.
Oh, God.
Again, a community drill needs to be done so that everybody in the community knows how to respond, how to react. CERT teams, again, that's on hold. Map your neighborhood program, again. And again, your family needs to know where you're going to go to grab their bag and go to the designated meeting place. These are all things that you need to have your family practice. Right now is the perfect time to do that because everybody's home anyway. So landslides. So Oso is a perfect example. We have Jackman Creek. We have, the Concrete Soft Valley Road has two different points that are sliding. South Skagit Highway has got
The whole
multiple
road?
sliding areas. Huh?
The whole road.
Yeah. So, again, if you find yourself caught in a slide, I know I've got 3 minutes. We have to go to break. If you find that you can't get out of the slide and it's coming down towards your vehicle, you're supposed to accelerate rapidly and turn into the slide.
Yep, make yourself an air pocket.
Yeah. And that's why you should have a whistle in your car. Because if you're buried, your horn isn't necessarily going to work. A whistle will. And if you're blowing a whistle, they're going to hear it. Let's see here. So analysis of the slides. Or analysis of the hillsides. There we go. And we know where most of our sliding areas are. Burpee Hill is another one. Reforestation done after major logging operations, and most of them are pretty good at doing that. Education of slide risk and community response. And what would be nice, bucket loaders and dump trucks on site at the county yard, and that would be for both floods and slides.
We got a street sweeper.
And the snow blower that nobody knows how to use.
All right, guys, and with that, we are going to our first break. So here is Cryptamnesia with Poltergeist.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, cause I'm rotted here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die, I am your poltergeist. I must have 1,000 souls trapped inside. 1,000 souls that are haunting Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. I'll eat your dreams while you immerse in all of your hate. Just waste away like you're destined by your fate. I'll be alive but I'm dead to watch you die. So go ahead and take my life, I dare you to try it. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I brought it here to you. Just burn me like a witch, in what things I can't find, but I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, you're caving in, the loss of sleep keeps you obsessing on your pride. But in the end, you let me in. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I'm wanted here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, it watches I catch fire, but I cannot die. I am your motherfucking. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I brought it here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, it watches I catch fire, but I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Welcome back to S4, where tonight we're talking fire safety, fire preparedness, wildfire preparedness, and drought, and how to prepare for it. So with us, we now have our guest for the night. We have Leo Tssinnie. I served with him in Illesheim, Germany in 95 through 98. Great times, great times. We won't go into all the great times, but he serves as an advanced EMT for New Mexico Fire Department.
Welcome, Neil.
Yeah, he's here with us. So we were talking during the break with him a little bit. Go into so we have so many people that think this whole pandemic is bullshit. I want you to explain as an EMT what you see.
As an EMT, what I see, when I'm running the industrial calls, I don't see it as much, but when I'm at the municipal department up in San Juan County, we're running at least 5 to 6 cases a day from their house to the hospital.
Right.
That number's only climbing. The reservation that I'm near, Neville Reservation, their numbers are climbing tremendously, even on their lockdown, their weekend lockdown like they have now.
Right.
So the lockdown actually started Friday at 8 p.m. and it doesn't end until 5 a.m. Monday morning.
And that's in New Mexico, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say to the naysayers that think this is the flu?
It's out there. It's spreading like wildfire. A lot of people say, oh, you get sick from the flu and diabetes, but diabetes is caused over time. And they don't realize that.
Right. Well, you know what pisses me off too is when they compare it to the flu, they're talking numbers of a season. They're not talking numbers of what we've. I don't even have the current numbers in front of me because I've gotten so tired of looking at it. But when you're talking the numbers of death in a 2 to 3 month period versus a 5 to 6 month for the flu, hell no, this ain't the flu. Then you got the ones that are you got the dumbasses that are protesting about their rights being violated. No, you know what? Think about the rights of others as well. You go out and go shopping and just do your own thing like there's nothing going on. You catch it and then you take it home to your family. Like,
The typical flu season is usually, for us down here in New Mexico, it's usually October to December, so about 3 months. This has been around for at least 4 to 5 months.
right?
And worldwide, we've already passed 2 million cases.
Mm-hmm.
That number is growing faster by the day. And the number of deaths, like here in New Mexico, we've already had 9 additional deaths today.
Just today. And I compare this to the Spanish flu, the Spanish flu of the 1900s. And they locked the country down then. And then the second wave took out more people than the first wave.
Just need you guys to hold on for 1 second. For some reason, he's not coming through on
On our speaker.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's my.
you're apparently not coming through on the show real quick. We gotta fix this.
Okay,
Technical
how is that?
difficulties.
Huh?
How is that?
Now we got you.
All right, you're back now.
Okay. Okay.
Technical issues. All right, so
Sorry about that, guys.
how's the wildfire look in New Mexico? I mean, you guys are in a desert environment compared to upriver, Eastern County. We've already seen, I think, 6 wildfires, 5 structural fires just in a 2 to 3 week period. We just now got rain 2 or 3 days ago without rain for, close to 2 months, I think it was. So
Something ridiculous for the spring.
it was a really dry spring. We're almost waiting for the fire marshal to call a burn ban, which he never did. So we're going to be talking about how can folks prepare for a fire. What would be your biggest advice?
My biggest advice is to have a protected area, which is for us typically 30 feet away from your residence. So no trees, no brush, no weeds. Clean everything out 30 feet out, and that'll protect your residence. So because as a community up in San Juan County, we send out these letters to the residents to ask them to clean 30 feet out from where they live.
Right.
And so we don't lose as many structures as, say, the nearest town, which is Farmington. And they don't do that on a yearly basis. And their structure fires is a lot higher than ours, but only because we're proactive early in the season.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a home fire checklist that you pass out?
Yes, we do. We have the parents. We give it to the parents, but we also have if the family has kids, we have the parents teach the kids what the list entails.
Okay.
So the kids know, and that way they can start. They can start getting their incident action plan in progress with the kids. So they know their escape routes. They know where to go, what to do. Accountability. If their residence on fire, go 2 houses down next to the fence or to the nearest fire hydrant for accountability. So that's what we send out.
Okay. And smoke alarms. So let's talk smoke alarms. So there should be one smoke alarm on every level of a home, and inside and outside each sleeping area. So smoke alarms should be between bedrooms, outside bedrooms. So what's the difference between a smoke alarm and a fire alarm?
A smoke alarm has a little sensor on the inside. It's always monitoring the air. So if the air gets too dense, it'll set off the alarm. A fire alarm goes by temperature. If the temperature gets too high, too hot, too fast, it'll set off the alarm. And a lot of fire alarms and smoke alarms are now programmed to call the fire department or call 911 for you.
Yeah, those are the hardwired alarms. And I know, so for those that want a smoke alarm, they don't know how to get one, call the Red Cross. The Red Cross does have of course, not right now, because right now the Red Cross will not respond because of COVID. But
also, with smoke alarms and even CO2 alarms,
right.
What we do up at county is if these people need new alarms or just need new batteries, they'll give us a call and say, hey, we can't, because we have ladders to reach a lot of these vaulted ceilings, we'll go in, change the batteries or change the alarm for these people.
See,
Free of charge.
And that's the difference. So we have volunteer fire departments up here, as you know. So for those that don't know, Tssinnie is actually from Skagit County originally, correct?
Yes. LaConner, Washington.
Yeah.
LaConner is where I'm actually from.
So, yeah, most of your paid fire departments will offer these services. Being up here with volunteer fire departments, they do not, which is why I say call Red Cross. In a non-COVID environment, normally Red Cross does come out and install for you or replace for you. I also suggest you change the batteries out, twice a year? Or you say once a year?
We always tell our residents once a year.
Okay.
So either during winter solstice or summer solstice.
There you go.
So yeah, it's the easiest time to remember.
Absolutely. So, yeah, a smoke alarm should be tested and cleaned monthly.
Yes.
And the batteries changed, they say as needed, but yeah, once a year, I would change them once a year just to be on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
So cooking safety. So cooking area should be free from items that can catch fire. Kitchen stove hood should be clean and ventilated to the outside. And don't ever leave your pots left unattended on the stove. So real quick, in the Army, I would say most of our housing fires started by grease fires. And a lot of that was because people didn't really understand how to respond to a grease fire. You don't ever put water on a grease fire because it spatters the fire everywhere. The fastest way to put out a grease fire is simply to put a lid over your pot.
Mm-hmm.
It takes the oxygen away. And I believe they have a new grease fire extinguisher. I think it's purple.
Actually, it would be a Class K.
Class K. Yeah.
Easy as we remember.
Kitchen.
Class kitchen.
Yep. Absolutely. And all that does is smother the flame. Instead of it's not a water-based extinguisher at all. In fact, I would keep water-based extinguishers out of your kitchen. Period. Can you really quick go over the fire extinguisher classes?
Fire extinguisher classes, we always say pass. Pull, aim, squeeze. So you want to aim at the base of the fire and then sweep up. So that way it covers where the fire started and then wherever it's going. That's an easy way. And you want to be at least 8 to 10 feet away.
Right.
And when you start sweeping, like I say, you start from the bottom, you sweep left, you sweep right, and then just make your way up like you're painting a Christmas tree.
So what are the classes of fire extinguishers? Is class A, B, C?
A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, and K.
Right.
A, think of it like ashes, like your furniture, your basic household items. B is your boiling stuff, like your grease fires, your oils. So just imagine B is boiling. C is in circuits, like your computers, your TVs.
Electrical.
Yes. And, of course, your class K is your kitchen fires.
So did they do away with class D, which was the metallic?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Now you can use ABC extinguishers on a class D fire.
Okay. Yeah, because there used to be the class D extinguisher, which was orange, and that was for your magnesium, and it was most common in I know a lot of jets that landed on aircraft carriers and whatnot. The friction would cause the rims to catch fire, and they actually had to drop those jets off into the ocean to save the ship because of the fact that you can't put that flame out. You have to actually kill the oxygen off the metal surface.
And with a lot of these newer vehicles, they're made with magnesium.
Right.
So the class D extinguisher would do more damage, and it displaces oxygen, so which is worse for people.
Okay. So let's move on to electrical and appliance safety. Electrical cords should never run under a rug. Electrical cords should never be frayed or cracked. You should always inspect your extension cords. And folks, be careful what you plug in. For example, a heater should not be plugged into an extension cord. You don't want extension cords plugged into extension cords. Just get one long extension cord. Those are some of the biggest causes of fires because the capacity of electricity going through, it can't handle it. So it'll heat up and it'll start a fire. Large and small appliances should be plugged directly to wall outlets. So again, your freezer, your refrigerator, things of that nature.
Your washer, dryer.
Yeah, they should all be plugged straight to the wall. Not extension cords. I would say the only exception to that rule is if you're plugging them into, say, a generator, because usually you can't. Your cords for your appliances can't go. They aren't long enough for a generator. So I would say that's the only exception to that rule. And Dennis is in the chat room. He says, check regularly for wire frays and damage. And we just started changing all the outlets in our house because they're loose. That's a danger. Mm-hmm. That's a fire danger. If you plug something into your outlet and it just falls out, change your outlets. Of course, make sure you turn the power off to your house before you try changing outlets.
Why?
Okay, mister. I don't care about getting fried.
So, also, when you use extension cords that have a grounding plug, don't cut the grounding plug off.
There you go.
A lot of fires that we see are started with extension cords that have the grounding plug cut off.
Well, you see that with, so I've taken OSHA inspection classes, and this is one of the biggest, OSHA fines is because they'll take their metal casing drills and their power tools, and they'll cut the grounding rod off. Mm-hmm. And so, I specifically remember one case where this guy was on a ladder with a metal case drill. The ladder was standing in water, and as soon as he hit that button to turn the drill on, he fried. He died.
Yeah.
And that was in an industrial, shop. So don't cut the grounding rods off your power tools.
Also, probably don't put a metal ladder in water when you're using power tools.
That too. I wasn't even going to go over that one.
And typically in industrial shops, your voltage is about 240 to 480.
Right. So yeah, you're definitely going to fry yourself.
Oh yeah.
Candle safety. Everyone loves candles.
No.
Mm-mm.
So candles are in sturdy fireproof containers. That you don't want them to tip over. I'm reading the comments in the chat room, so yeah. So Dennis says one outlet here is duct taped off because it was loose. No, don't use duct tape. Fix the damn thing. And they really don't cost that much. It doesn't cost much to replace an outlet, and it doesn't take a lot. 2 wires, but again, make sure you kill the power to your house. Yes, I'm looking at Cole when I say that.
Seriously, though.
Okay, if you cut the power to the house, you have to restart everything. Ugh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because Kayla can't drive you to the hospital, and
It's just a fuzzy little feeling, okay?
Med-7 won't show up in time. Yeah. Anyway, all candles are extinguished before going to bed. Absolutely. And again, so that brings the story. So children and pets are never left unattended with candles. Yeah. So cats are stupid. Cats don't have much common
Will knock
sense.
stuff off.
Huh?
What? Cats will knock stuff off.
Dennis says, I don't use candles, we have a cat.
No. Yeah, so I had a cat, and she actually walked. And so she was a Maine Coon, so she was a long hair. And she, walked over the candle, and she was a flaming Maine Coon from me.
Then she became a short hair.
Yeah, she became a short hair. So yeah, make sure your candles are not near your kids, not where your kids can reach them, not where your cats can get to them. Dogs usually don't climb up on tables like cats do. If they do, then you have a problem. What? All right. So carbon monoxide alarms. I'm going to let you handle this, Leo. Carbon monoxide alarms located, they should be on what? Each level of the home, correct?
Yes, each level of the home. We usually, what I tell residents, have 2 on each level. One on if your house is north-south, one on north end, one on south end, on each level.
Okay.
And especially near if you have a garage,
right?
Have 2 in your garage.
So, what is the purpose of a monoxide alarm?
Carbon monoxide is an odorless and tasteless chemical. So, if the smoke detector or a fire detector doesn't catch it, your CO2 alarm will definitely catch. If there's like an exhaust. If you run a generator or running your car to warm up in the morning, it'll give you that warning.
And that's actually good. Like, you see a lot of the newer homes that have a garage underneath a bedroom, and folks will come out, they'll warm the car up, whatnot, and they'll have all this monoxide that seeps from the garage into the house where people might be sleeping. What would
a lot of times when they do that, they think by opening the garage door is helping aerate the area. It's keeping it in there.
Right. Okay.
Is what it's doing.
Right. So what would be a reason a monoxide alarm would go off for no reason? If there's no fire, because I know some fire calls come out because a monoxide alarm is going off. There's no reason for it. Could it be? Are they battery?
Sometimes it's a faulty detector, and a lot of times it's just a low battery. If it's not hardwired and you're just running off a 9-volt battery, it's just telling you your alarm's about to die.
Okay, so you suggest changing out monoxide alarms at the same time you do your smoke detectors?
We usually say twice a year on your CO2 detectors.
Okay, see, that's good to know.
So,
Okay, smoking safety. Oh, I'm going to get pissed off, you know. So, yeah, don't smoke in bed. That's the biggest cause of smoking fires, is dumbasses, which I'm guilty of that, but I was just fortunate that it didn't catch my house on fire. Haven't done it in years. But, you know, it's a big cause for holes in your sheets. Yeah.
And other things,
Is
but
that the
we
only
won't talk
cause
about
for
that.
holes in your sheets?
But yes, don't smoke in bed because, well, you fall asleep, you got a lit cigarette. And
Or on your living room couch, especially after a hard work day.
right? Well, so I can speak from experience. When those of us that actually roll our own cigarettes using a machine, a lot of times your tobacco gets dry, and the cherry falls off real easy off the cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that problem?
No.
No.
Uh-uh.
I smoke enough that tobacco never gets dry in this house.
Okay. So yeah,
It's been about 15 years since I smoked, so.
Oh, congratulations! That's good to know. I'm not ready to quit.
I don't want to. You can't make me.
Right. So ashtrays. Make sure your ashtrays are emptied into a container that will not burn. That makes sense. Don't put out a cigarette and then dump your ashtray into the garbage can because, well, that can.
Unless it's sat overnight.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like if the ashtray's been sitting there overnight and you haven't had a lit cigarette in it for at least 12 hours, go ahead and dump that into the garbage. But
All right. So heating
So
safety.
what we
Go
tell
ahead.
folks when they smoke at home
Right.
is have a little middle garbage pail
yeah,
and put water in there. So
There you
when you're
go.
done with your cigarette, just throw it in water.
There you go. And make sure it's not gasoline, not water.
and sand doesn't work
Oh,
if
yeah.
you just keep loading up the freaking can.
Right.
Like if you get to the point where you have a can full of sand out front and you can't see the sand, it's not going to help.
Not sure gonna like the
No,
other
it's not.
cigarettes that are in there. You
Same
made,
thing with the water.
Hey, did you make it to Iraq?
Yes, I did. Twice.
Okay. What years did you go?
I went in 03 and then before I got out in 06, from 05 to 06.
Well, holy hell, where were you in 05, 06?
Secrete?
Okay, I was in Talifa.
Iraq, you just said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I was in Telefar. I was in
Yeah,
Boulogne
and the first time I was in El Anbar the first time.
Okay. But that was before I got there. I was there in Balad in 405.
Okay.
Mortar Alley. Great fun, great times. Anyway, off to heating safety. So chimney. So folks, you're probably not using your chimney or your furnace right now. You might be a little bit. It still gets cooler at night. But
People
during
in
the
Nunavut are.
huh?
People in Nunavut are.
Well, yeah.
It's cold there.
Okay. They don't gotta worry about it.
All three people?
All three people, really. So during the summer, your fireplace sits. So you want to make sure you get your chimney inspected and swept before you use your fireplace again. Well, make sure your furnace is inspected and the filters changed out and whatnot.
And
So,
if you
so this
have
is
a
another
fireplace-
proactive.
So again,
This is another proactive approach that we take up at San Juan County. Is at the end of the fire season, at the end of the winter season,
right?
have your chimneys cleaned, then, and then clean
Okay.
them again before you start using them the next winter.
Excellent. That's
So-
good advice.
It takes a little bit of time, but better safe than sorry.
That way you don't end up with smoked seagull.
Yeah,
Or
and
smoke
just in case,
or smoke.
and just
bat.
in case you
Yeah.
forget during the upcoming winter, it's already
Right.
clean.
Excellent. And Santa Claus doesn't catch fire.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he won't look like your Maine Coon.
No. Poor Santa. Poor Krampus. Actually, I don't think Krampus uses a chimney, does he? He just walks
No.
up the door of the chains.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
on
bitches,
that,
I'm here.
I do have a question for you, because I was so confused, Tssinnie. When we were in Hildesheim, I don't ever remember Krampus being a German thing. I
don't either.
Krampus never came up until, what, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
No, but you guys are foreigners. They didn't want to share with you.
Oh, they
And
shared with
all
us.
the
Because
I don't ever remember hearing about them.
No.
Well, but that's a good thing, guys. That means you were good while you were there.
I don't know about that.
we were U.S. Army. Would have shot him. He wouldn't. He wouldn't last long. Would have sent an Apache up after him.
Oh my god.
Oh God. And, you know
Yeah,
what?
that wouldn't have caused an investigation from the Congress at all.
No, of course not.
MK Ultra.
Most of our Apache pilots actually went to the Irish pub, and we could have got down to the Irish pub any time and drank with them. That's how our pilots.
Oh yeah.
We had some of the coolest pilots, I think, in the Army. And so for folks that are confused, again, Tssinnie and I served in Hildesheim, Germany back in 95 through 98. We have actually haven't talked since then.
What if that's what it is?
What's that?
What if the reason you don't know about Krampus is he's a Mandela effect?
Really? We're going to go there now?
Hey, Dennis put it in.
Oh, no.
Ooh, this is where I shine.
All right, go back and listen to the Mandela Effect show from about a month ago. We didn't talk about Krampus, but no. No, it's not going to be another
Holiday
show.
Mandela.
I don't.
Next show.
Because here's the thing. I remember hearing about him as a kid, and it was from German and Austrian ancestry.
That's what's weird, though. I spent 8 years in Germany. I've heard of Black Peter. I've heard of, because every December 7th, St. Nicholas went around with Black Peter in a horse and buggy in every village, and Black Peter gave coal away to the bad kids. St. Nicholas gave everybody candy canes, and they were checking their list. Ain't nothing when I had German friends. They never talked about Krampus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
too scared to.
Huh?
They're too scared to.
Oh, hell no. No, that was a great movie. I love the gingerbread man with the nail
Not the
gun.
Germans I knew.
No.
The only thing I remember about Germany and holidays is pickle.
Pickle.
Putting a pickle on your Christmas tree.
I don't remember that either.
Oh yeah, I know.
You don't know the pickle on the Christmas tree?
But that's not
man.
Germany.
Where is that then?
I believe that's Ukraine.
Well,
No, I don't remember. Do you remember a pickle on a Christmas tree in Germany at the city?
No, I don't. I really don't.
I remember the Osterbaum. They had an Easter tree.
I'm pretty sure that it
I
was
remember that.
Germany that had the pickle because, I'm super German and that's why we have a pickle.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. So Dennis says his partner is German. He doesn't remember Krampus either. Yeah, there you go. No Krampus in Germany. Until, 3 years ago. There we
So
go.
you're claiming it's a Mandela effect.
It's settled.
Because
All right.
there's pages on pages of information about having Krampus festivals there for over 100 years. So,
No, that was Norway.
no.
Yeah.
And that wasn't
Netherlands.
Krampus, that was a giant goat that people set on fire, right?
Huh?
Oh, never mind.
Anyway, heating safety. So yeah, keep your furniture and your rugs away from your fireplace. So at least 3 feet from fireplaces. Wall heaters, baseboards, space heaters. And again, like we said earlier, don't plug space heaters into extension cords. Those need to be plugged straight into the wall. So fireplace and barbecue ashes should be placed outside in a covered metal container at least 3 feet from anything that can catch fire. Would you agree with that, Tssinnie?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And the information I'm pulling off came from FEMA, the U.S. Fire Administration. So you can get this information straight from FEMA, ready.gov, Red Cross, many sources you can get all this information from.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the home escape plan. Have 2 ways out of each room. If you live on a second floor, they actually make
home escape ladders.
there you
Fire
go.
escape.
I was going to say disposable ladder. That doesn't sound right. But yeah, the little ladders you perch on the window ledge and you can climb down that way. Just be prepared.
So
for fire.
they renamed them a couple of years ago. Instead of fire escape ladders, they're home escape ladders now, because fire escape ladders are typically bolted to the building.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, know to crawl lower to the floor when escaping to avoid the toxic smoke. The smoke rises. I believe the heat rises too, does it not?
Yes, it does. So if you open the door and you see how low the smoke is, that's how much fire there is. So if the smoke is pretty high up on the door, the fire is just starting out. So it's in the incipient stage. So the lower smoke, the more fire there is. So, and another thing we tell residents is when you go to sleep, please close your doors. There's a lot less fire damage if your doors are closed. And that's where the action plan comes in with you, or emergency plan that you go over with your kids. Go out the window and meet at an accountability spot, but keep your doors closed.
Okay, excellent. And again, that was the next point. Once you're out, stay out. Don't rush back into the building to get your laptop, like I probably would.
Or a goldfish.
Or goldfish. Yep, absolutely. And have your meeting place somewhere outside the residence where you can take accountability, count how many, make sure all your kids are there. Make sure your whole family's there. Meeting place should be near the front of your home so firefighters know you're out. Do you have a distance?
And then, like I said,
do you have a distance?
And the other, we usually tell them 100 feet or the nearest fire hydrant, because the parents and the kids, if they get to the fire hydrant or the parents get there first, they can say, "Hey, we're missing a kid." That's where they can tell firefighters as soon as they get there, because they know the fire department's going to tag a hydrant. So who better to tell?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, I don't know how to pronounce this.
What?
Krampuslauf, I think is what it says.
Okay. So
It
we're back
has
to
been
Krampus.
celebrated in Munich, Germany for the last 500 years. On the 5th.
You know what? Munich, Germany. Munich don't count.
Well, considering I only been to Munich once and I was drunk off my ass.
He runs around the Christmas market.
Oh, God. I don't think I remember much of Hildesheim. Other times,
No.
I don't remember.
I remember the Green Goose and Bad Vinsheim.
Yeah. That was the best club. Yeah. They don't have
Right outside base.
Huh?
Right outside base, and
You could walk there.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually did because we were private, so I was a specialist, but yeah, even
Walk there.
Huh?
Walk there, crawl back.
And it depends. So it depended on the unit. Most E4 and below weren't allowed to have cars. Early on in Germany. So let's talk about wildfires. We've talked about structure fires. We have a lot of wildfire activity that goes on up here. Do you have anything to say about wildfires? Again, we talked about keeping vegetation 30 feet away from your home. Do you suggest I usually keep not fire hoses, but garden hoses available outside the house just for watering the garden. Would they be an asset as well?
Oh, yes. But you got to make sure the garden hose reaches all the way around your house.
Okay.
So not just the front 10 feet.
Right.
So, and 30 feet is the usual distance. It's what they call defendable space, is what we call it here. Okay. So you want a 30 feet defendable space around your whole house. You can have your gardens, but have it at least 30 feet away.
Time to build a moat.
That's just fuel for a fire.
Time to build a moat.
Build a boat?
Moat.
Oh, moat. You gonna build a moat around your house?
Yeah, in this area, that would be super smart. It would just overflow with floodwater, and we would all die.
Well, think about it. You build a moat, you have a drawbridge. Nobody can come, you put alligators and piranhas in the moat, and, none of the tweakers could come across the moat to get in your house.
I'm pretty sure that's against our HOA.
It'd be a lot cooler if you had electric eels in there instead of alligators.
There you go. Okay.
At home Frankenstein.
Oh, I wonder if you could hook up to the electric eels to power the house.
We fill it with rakes.
Huh?
Probably.
We wouldn't have to worry about PSE anymore.
Huh. Okay. You figure that one out. You can go ahead and catch those eels too. I'm good.
Okay, let's talk about fire lines. So when you're trying to stop a wildfire, and obviously these are the things that only the fire departments usually do. But if you don't have a fire department that's in your area, is there anything you can do to help stop the fire coming down a mountain from getting to your home?
Typically, we backburn. So if it's coming down the mountain and your house is just below it, start backburning. Use all that fuel before it gets to your house.
And then all you have to worry about is wind making it jump across the backburn.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like I said, there's one of the few times you can fight fire with fire.
Right.
So
what that does, folks, is it burns the trees and the dry vegetation. And what's your typical distance for a backburn?
Typical distance, we usually start as early as possible because the light, splashy fuels like grass and weeds, that'll burn off faster. And the lower part of the tree where it's most susceptible to igniting, it'll use that as well. So once you get rid of the light, flashy fuels, the chances of that fire growing any bigger is greatly reduced.
Right, but I also would not suggest that a homeowner that doesn't know how to backburn goes out and attempts to scorch their yard.
Sure, ruined my fun.
Just saying, this probably isn't the safest option for you. Well, you might create another wildfire in the process.
But the only reason I'm bringing it up is because of the number of fires that could happen up here and the lack of fire resources. So if you have the knowledge to try to help, then I would say try to help. If you know the fire department is not going to make it to your home.
So another thing you can do instead of doing backburns, if your garden hose is long enough, put down what they call a wet line. Just start wetting everything down, at least 100 feet from your house.
100
start
feet?
wetting everything down. Yeah.
Okay. I know that in California, when California had their, I don't know if they have fires right now. They have fires all the time, but a lot of the homeowners were wetting the ceiling, the rooftops down.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much the same concept. That's all it is a wet line.
Right.
So you wet that vegetation, you wet those trees, and the chances are it won't start burning. It'll dry up the water fast, but it's not going to ignite the fuels.
Right. Real quick, I know there's a type of fire that burns, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a type of fire that burns underground. And they're having problems with that in the Olympic National Forest. It burns the tree roots, so they don't know there's a fire because it's under the ground. Do you know anything about that?
We've only seen that once before, and that was in the Cibola National Forest, which is about 2 hours from here. And it wasn't the underground, it was burning the heart of the tree. So the outside was fine. It was the middle part of the tree that was on fire. And we didn't notice until we cut the tree down.
Okay.
And I don't remember right offhand because I've only seen it once before.
Okay. And okay, so yeah, Jennifer's got a good point. She feels bad for our volunteer firefighters who have to deal with meth lab explosions. What can you say about meth lab explosions? Do you guys have that problem in New Mexico?
Yes, we do.
I figured.
So typically with meth labs, we send in our hazmat teams to deal with the chemicals that they have. So some of that stuff is pretty nasty.
So is there anything you can expound on? Because I know we don't have a hazmat team here in Skagit County that's fast enough to respond to a meth lab explosion. And a lot of times they are. So I'm going to go on a limb here, but a lot of the meth labs that we have here are in RV trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, by any means, but oftentimes they are RV trailers or motor homes. And they burn fast anyway without it being a meth lab. But yes, I agree absolutely. Usually it's a hazmat team. They have a hazmat level 1 suit that will go in and fight that fire because you're dealing with hazmat chemicals that some of them are acids. So yeah, you have to have special gear and equipment, which I don't think many of our teams up here have.
No. Just if you come across that, best thing to do is drown it with water. Just like an acid.
Right.
Put water on it and until it can't do anything.
Okay. And yeah, we don't have as many meth lab explosions, I don't think, as people think we do. A lot of the explosions you hear around here are Corey blasts, shotguns, things of that nature. Honestly, meth lab explosions don't happen as frequently as people think they do. It's kind of a running joke. It's kind of a running joke more than anything about, oh, wow, did you hear that explosion? Must have been a meth lab. Probably not. They do happen, yes, but there's not a meth lab on every street corner exactly up here. I'm getting laughed at now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just met most of my neighbors. No, I'm just
Yeah, but we live on the corner.
So wildfires.
So if the meth lab is an explosion with no flames, if it's just a chemical explosion,
right?
People will just tell people open the windows and aerate the area.
Or in the case of being next door to one, I'd seal the windows so it doesn't get in the house. Yeah?
Yeah.
But that, and that's a hard one to... You don't know because you also don't want to seal the windows and the chemicals are already in your home because then they're locked in with you.
Okay, so if a meth lab explodes somewhere by us, I'm getting in the van and we're coming over to your house.
That's your best bet.
Okay. Wait for a couple of days and then we can come back to whatever's left of our home.
So we have about 10 minutes left of the second hour. Third hour, we're actually going to go into more drought and more health and how to prepare for dehydration, hot weather emergencies, things of that nature. But let's talk about preemptive fire. So what can you do to... we went over the extension cords, things of that nature. But another thing that I forgot to mention is inventory your home. So, I've got a checklist I can pass out to whoever wants it. And it comes from State Farm. And it's about 20 pages. And it's got areas for every aspect. It's got... So what they suggest, you take a picture of your TV, write down your, the serial number, all that kind of stuff. All of your high value items. You want to take a picture of it, have it on an inventory list, have all your serial numbers, your model numbers, all that kind of stuff. And that helps your insurance company. If everything's destroyed in your home, you have it all written down and documented.
And I would suggest that everybody gets the fire options on their homeowners or on renter's insurance. If you're renting a place, Make sure that you have renter's insurance, because their homeowner's insurance is not going to cover all the products.
Absolutely. Also, so when you're making an emergency action plan, so I have emergency action plans for every aspect. When it comes to farms, that's a completely different scenario. You have horses, you have cows, you have goats. If there's a disaster, what are you going to do with your livestock? Well, you have to look at biosecurity. I know we have farms up here right now that have a very extensive biosecurity plan because they have to worry about, and it sounds funny, but you have to worry about your animals with COVID as well. I don't know how valid the stories are, but we've all heard the stories about, one case of a dog got COVID. You've got the tigers in the New York Zoo that got COVID. You've got a cat in Australia got COVID. Are they true? I don't know. But you have to be careful when you're running a farm that is your livelihood, of making sure your animals are safe. You have a wildfire threat. Make sure you have enough. Make sure you have a backup plan for your animals to go to if you have to evacuate your livestock. We had a wildfire here a couple weeks ago in Deming, where they were asking for people to come and help them move their animals. These are all part of your emergency action plan that should be documented and in place. Already have that lined up, so you don't have to all of a sudden ask for an emergency call out. So I know you have a lot of farms in your community, do you not, Tssinnie?
Up in San Juan County we do, but it's a lot of not a lot of animals are up there. Okay. So it's mostly for like produce, corn, alfalfa, beans, stuff like that.
And on that note, you have barn fires. So people don't understand the concept of wet hay. If your hay is not dried properly, that's why. So there's a process to making hay. So you see the farmers, they go out there, they have a mower. They'll mow the field down. Then they'll oftentimes come down with a rake. They'll rake it into rows. That doesn't mean it's dry. Then they'll come back through with what's called a tedder. And that's that farm equipment that you see that's got all the little teeth in it that basically fluffs the hay up. And that's exposing any wet spots to dry out. It usually takes about 2 days to properly make hay. And that's with nothing but hot, sunlight. Then they'll go back through and they'll rake it again, and then they'll bale it. Now, if it's not dried properly and it's wet in the middle of that bale, and they go stack it in the barn, that ignites quick. And that's a main reason for barn fires. Other than the farmhand that was stupid and threw a cigarette in his hay, but yeah. But that is a big reason for barn fires, is someone that made hay or bought hay, didn't buy it from a really good source and it was wet inside or green inside, and it'll start a fire and it'll go quick. Have you ever seen a barn fire?
It's one of the few things that will auto ignite. No
right.
Ignition source needed. It'll auto ignite just because of that moisture on the inside.
Absolutely, and I would say a barn will be a barn caused by wet hay would probably be down in about 15-20 minutes, fully engulfed. Would you agree with that?
Oh yes. Up here, they typically have 110 bales. So they'll do the little 3 twine,
right.
But they typically have the 1 ton bales up here. So they have to make sure they're dried.
Because I'm so used to growing up, the small square bales before they came up with the the round bales and the giant bales and all that.
Marshmallows.
Yeah.
Yep. And farms are always they move with the times. We thought it was a big deal when we got a harrow bed, an automatic bale picker upper, and yeah, and now look at what they got.
Oh, for sure. I remember being the automatic baler picker-upper.
Oh, dude, that was summer money right there. I remember getting paid $50 a day for bucking bales onto a hay wagon. You know, that was a big deal. So we have about 3 minutes to talk. So what do you put, you know, roadside rescue, just to put in your vehicle? I put a fire extinguisher. I will put a tow rope. That's what I've got in mine. Jumper cables, a good jack. I don't like, you know, in being in the Army, we had good jacks. I never did like the scissor jacks with the Humvee.
Oh, no. Those are probably the worst.
Oh, God, yeah. They don't hold any pressure. They don't hold any weight. They buckle too easy. So, folks, if you get a vehicle that's got a scissor jack or even a bottle jack, toss it. Spend the extra money for, you know, $30 or whatever at O'Reilly's. Pick up a decent jack. Don't trust your bottle jack. Don't trust your scissor jack. Get a real jack. So, yeah, I've got a heavy-duty jack in my truck. I've got a very extensive toolkit in my truck. I've got fire extinguishers. I've got tow ropes. I've got a very extensive medical kit. Going from, and a lot of people don't understand what a combat medic is. Tssinnie knew me when I was a truck mechanic. But I was a combat medic in damn near every unit I went to. 6.6, I think, was the only unit that they didn't use me as a medic because they actually had their own medics. 29th Signal, for example, they had no medical support, so I was actually used as a medic as well as a mechanic. And a lot of other, you know, a few other units, not a lot. But I was a straight combat medic from 89 to 94. And that's where I went to Somalia and Desert Storm. But a combat medic is the equivalent to your civilian paramedic as far as skill and education goes. We don't get a license. You know, and there's a song. Look up the song called Doc. I can't remember his name who sings it, but just look up a song called Doc on YouTube and you'll pull it up. But he sings it perfectly. You know, because as a combat medic, you actually declare people dead. Because soldiers, we don't have a doctor on the battlefield. We stick IVs, we stick chest tubes. You know, we do a lot of things your EMTs can't do. So the kit that I carry, it doesn't have. I don't go above my skill level on the civilian side. I don't have IVs. I don't have chest tubes. But take a basic first aid kit. That's your best bet. Learn how to splint fractures. Learn how to stop bleeding. CPR changes so much. I think they usually. What's your current CPR information?
What we do here is it's all hands. There's no breath. It's just compression only CPR.
Right. And do you use the automatic defib?
Yes.
Okay. And on that, folks, we are down to our last break. And when we come back, we'll go into heat exhaustion, heat stroke, some drought preparation, things of that nature. So, stay tuned.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
to fight. You exercise your demon light. Your chaos deep inside burns through your skin. Release your hell weather. Your eyes black as the night fell victim to your hell weather. Look at you now, look at you now. The demons ripping out your soul. And now the devil's in control. Your chaos deep inside burns through your skin. Your eyes black as the night fell victim to your hell weather. Look at you now, look at you now. The demons ripping out your soul. And now the devil's in control.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
All right, welcome back to S4. Tssinnie had to leave us. It was great having him on for an hour. Again, he is with a municipal fire department out of New Mexico. He is an advanced EMT with the team. He's also a hazmat technician. He had a call out he had to go to, so he had to run. But again, love our first responders, love our fire departments. Wish they would be getting paid if they're volunteer, because they are still at risk, just like your paid fire departments are. It really pisses me off because, having been with Grassmere for a few months, my PTSD just couldn't handle it, so I had to back out. But having worked with some of those guys, the gals, they're great. They know their crap, and they should be getting paid for what they do because they're just at risk as your paid fire departments are. So we're going to shift topics to we're getting closer. It hasn't really, the temperatures haven't quite peaked. I think we hit a high of 68, 69 is the highest so far, which is warm for spring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
we can get up to 90s to 100s. I've seen it here in the summertime. And that's where you have people dropping left and right.
When that big earthquake comes, it's going to be like 500 degrees out there because that.
Yada, yada,
no.
yada. We're not going to scare people about it.
Sorry.
So Cascadia Subduction Zone could happen next week. It could happen in 20 years. It could happen in another 100 years. You never know. We're not going to scare people into that shit.
Do you remember that ad, or that one of the news weather people? And they messed up when they did their thing.
Right.
Their 7-day forecast. And like,
said, anything could happen. Yeah.
No,
not that one?
this was a few years ago.
Okay,
Their 7-day forecast came up on the green screen. And on Thursday, it said 352 degrees.
I remember that one. That's hilarious. So, in Iraq, it got up to 140. Don't do this, folks. But in Iraq, I didn't drink water. I drink coffee. But I drink pots and pots of coffee, and it's really bad for you, so don't do it. But I drink enough coffee that I stay hydrated. That's not a good thing. But this is the season, and I actually get migraines now when I start working in the garden and it's too hot out because I don't drink enough water. So this is where you want to start pushing water. Don't get Gatorade. I don't suggest Gatorade. It's got sugar in it.
Gives you diabetes.
Well, it can take away. You don't rehydrate from Gatorade, and like the CD said during break, you can't overhydrate, and overhydration will kill you as much as being dehydrated.
I used to drink Coke all the time.
Right.
That was my favorite drink of choice for almost 10 years. And then my wife said, that's unhealthy for you. You should switch. And I brought home a Powerade. Figured it was still made by the Coke company. I'm still supporting them. I'm good.
Oh, good God.
And she said, yeah, that's cool. And a year later, I had diabetes.
Yeah, well, it would have been cool if it was like one a day, not a 6-pack. Okay.
And like Dennis says in the chat room, yeah, caffeine does dehydrate. But if you drink enough caffeine, it keeps you at a steady level. Don't do that, folks. I'm not saying to do that. No.
Tequila will do that too.
Yeah, okay.
Keeps you leveled.
Yeah.
Wrong level, but...
No.
Okay, just so that everybody knows, don't drink 6 pots of coffee, 20 million Powerades, or tequila on a regular basis, all of which will kill you eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Okay. I get that, and that's the chance I take. I smoke cigarettes, I drink coffee. Well, that's what I do. I don't drink beer, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke weed, because I just don't do that. I don't care if anyone else does that, but don't drink and drive. But anyway.
Didn't you say you wanted to talk about flooding? Water will kill you too.
Okay.
Oh, we've already hit flooding, kind of.
Got it.
So, for explanation of the terminology they use, a heat wave is a prolonged period of excessive heat, often combined with excessive humidity. A heat index is the number in degrees Fahrenheit that tells how hot it feels when the relative humidity is added to the air temperature. These are terms you need to know when you're actually seeing the reports that come out. You see it on the news or on the weather. The heat index today is, so in the Army we had what's called a heat index bulb, and it really dictates how hot it is versus the humidity in the air, how many minutes each hour that our soldiers took breaks. So if it was 100-something degrees, we would probably take a break every 20 minutes, 20 minutes out of every hour. That's how long we worked. You don't get much work done that way. So in Iraq, in Telefar, 506, we actually got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, went to the shop, did what work we could, and we went back to our trailers at noon. We didn't work from noon to, we were off. We worked about 5 hours a day. Because when you're looking at soldiers in Iraq, for example, combined with the gear that we had to wear, which added about 30 degrees to your body temperature already, you're looking at 120 degrees with the body armor we added, it was 150 degrees you're working at. So heat cramps. Heat cramps is the first sign. If you start getting heat cramps, stop working. Start cooling off. Start drinking water. That's your first sign. If you get heat cramps, you have muscular pains and spasms. You can get your stomach starts hurting. Not too major yet. You're still sweating. Heat cramps, stop working. Start massaging your muscles. But start drinking water because your muscles are overworking because you're underhydrated. Heat exhaustion. Not totally going to be a hospital run, but it's one step towards heat stroke. Heat exhaustion, you still have water in your system, but your body's overworking. You've got a rapid pulse rate. I'm thinking here. Yeah, you'll start getting a little bit confused. You'll have a headache. That's when you really need to stop working. Go inside, get in front of a fan, start cooling off.
Do not drink ice cold water.
No. In fact, I suggest
That
drinking.
is a shock to the system.
I suggest drinking room temperature.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want cold water. I'll start drinking because it'll absorb a lot faster. And like Cole said, yeah, it's a shock to your system. Heat stroke. Now that's life-threatening. That is an ambulance run.
Yes, it is.
So with heat stroke, you've got no more perspiration. You have hot, dry skin. Whereas heat exhaustion, your skin is still going to be moist. It's still got sweat. You're still sweating. You're sweating profusely.
Now you got to use that word.
What?
Moist.
Moist.
Oh, good God! You're okay. Your skin is wet,
Saturated.
saturated.
There we go.
That was just someone starting a car. Sound like a gunshot. I know. We are in the Cape. Let's see. Dennis says he actually lost his sight due to dehydration. Literally, he was coherent, but he went blind for about 15 minutes. Yeah, and this is usually when I'm outside working and I'm not hydrating, I will get a migraine. I'll start seeing the sparkles, and I'm done for the day. So heat stroke, again, the victim's temperature control system, which produces the sweating to cool the body, stops working. The body temperature can rise so high that brain damage and death may result if you're not cool off in time.
Can also cause massive seizures.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because your body's convulsing because your whole system's shut down.
Yeah.
So sunstroke is simply another term for heat stroke. So these are some of the terms that you should be familiar with. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. And, this actually goes for winter, too. People don't think about drinking water in the winter, but you can actually get dehydrated in the wintertime, too.
Absolutely.
When we used to go snowmobiling, Dad used to carry at least 8 bottles of water in his snowmobile.
Right. So you can actually go for, 2 weeks without food?
Yeah, but you can only go like 4 days.
But you can only go 3 days without water.
3 days?
Yep. So, we have high temperatures coming. Fortunately, we don't get to 140 degrees or I'd be pissed off and I'd probably move. But at least we don't have sand here. That's in Eastern Washington. You can keep it. So, prepare for extreme heat. You should install window air conditioners snugly. Insulate them if necessary. And honestly, these days, air conditioner units you can get you pick up for $200? That runs sufficiently. So I suggest.
But make sure that the air conditioning unit is set for your home size, because if you don't, that becomes a fire hazard.
Yeah.
If that thing is running too hard, you will burn out the motor, and when those motors burn out, it's not a guarantee that they won't start on fire.
And there you have a fire hazard. Check the air conditioning ducts for proper insulation. Install temporary window reflectors for use between windows and drapes, such as, aluminum foil. We use those in our head. But anyway, aluminum foil covered cardboard to reflect the heat back outside. Keeps your home a lot cooler, and your car. Weather strip your doors and sills to keep the cool air in. So with drought, this is one reason I picked up a 13-gallon water tank to pull behind my tractor for watering the garden. Running, and a lot of you folks that live upriver here, and I know globally, but if you're running on a well, and I don't trust the well. And, our well's old. So I don't want to run a sprinkler system, for example, in the garden. Because I don't know when that well's going to dry out. So I have a 13-gallon tank that I picked up. It was $109 on Northern Tool. Quite sufficient for keeping the garden watered. I'll go out early morning, early evening. You don't want to water your garden in the middle of the day because you're actually going to do more harm than you will.
Again, it's a shock to the system.
It's a shock to the plant
every
system.
other day in the evening.
Yeah. I'd say
evening
every day.
After
I'd
sun
say every day.
goes down.
I'd say depending on the temperature, because right now it'd be every other day. It's not hot enough to actually require every day.
And right now, again, we've been getting rain, so I don't have to worry about it. It looks great. The sunflowers are actually popping up. So, we're getting a swimming pool for the kids, and again, I'm not going to fill it up with a well.
Oh, come on.
No.
It'll be ready by August.
Right? So we will actually call a company that's going to come out and fill it up for us. He charges $150 for the size pool that we're getting. It would have been more for the 5,000 gallon pool we were looking at. Another thing I want to talk about tonight is helping your children with this disaster. So Dennis is saying not related. Oh, he just pulled it.
He does that if he makes a spelling error. There we go.
So I just came across his banner. Neiman Marcus goes into bankruptcy tomorrow. Ooh.
What is Neiman Marcus? What do they make?
That says clothes, I believe. Yeah, so the pandemic's an emergency, so it makes him wonder how it's affecting emergency responder families. And, that's a really good point. I know a lot of our medical personnel that work in hospitals are actually going home and living in their garages just to stay away from their family members. Or they're staying in hotels. There's a lot of hotels. Yeah, it's a $7,000 dresses type store.
Yeah, they're a department store company. Apparel, shoes, bags, and beauty. Ooh, they sell beauty. I need them.
Shut up.
For me, jackass.
So, yeah, think about our first responders, and that's a big shout out to them tonight. That's why we do these kind of shows, is to help them by educating the general public into, like tonight, for fire safety, things like that. Things the public can do to keep their homes safer, and hopefully keep our fire departments from having to call out or come out to something that could have been prevented.
Well, and a lot of our volunteer firemen are small business owners, such as welders, fabricators, mechanics,
absolutely.
All different kinds of jobs, loggers, and they all run their own businesses. We need to help them keep these businesses running. So when you need some, try and get it as locally as you can. If you can't, so be it. But if you can, get it done at home.
Yep. Like our own hardware store up here in Concrete.
Yep. They actually have had some really good deals on, and the guys there are really helpful. So, kudos to Cascade Hardware.
Absolutely. So, children after disaster. So, we're not even after the disaster. We are during the disaster. And I know if your kids are like ours, they're going stir crazy. They're acting out. They have good days. They have bad days. This is a scary time for your kids, even more so than you, because our kids don't know what to expect. All of a sudden, our kids are yanked out of school by something that they're hearing is going to kill their grandparents or their parents. Think of it along those lines. They don't know unless you explain it to them, and how you're explaining it to them. So children are going to exhibit behaviors. They're going to be upset over the loss of a favorite toy, and I've seen that. They'll miss a toy and they'll throw a fit because they don't know where that toy went. It's not about the toy. It's about the situation that's going on around you. They'll change from being quiet, obedient, and caring to loud, noisy, and aggressive. Or they may change from being outgoing and shy and afraid. These are things you need to watch for with your kids. Develop nighttime fears. Well, I haven't seen that yet. Have you?
No. Well, but my kids, they could give two craps about this whole thing. They're so caught up in the whole Fortnite thing and trying to build their, so they're leveling the ground for their pool,
right?
Because I refuse to help them, so they don't care.
Well, it's not that they don't care, but it's that we keep them
ridiculously
busy.
Yeah.
Okay. And between us and all the school stuff that they have to do and everything else, they aren't having time.
Yeah, school almost got harder for them. It seems like they have more work to do being out of school than they do when they're in school.
Right.
Well, yeah, you're not only getting the homework, you're doing the coursework that you usually see throughout the day as well.
No, but even Jalen said it's harder. It's harder work.
Huh.
So things you can do with your kids. talk with talk with them. Do feelings checks. We do that actually. Assure them it's going to be okay to have those feelings, and don't lie to them. Really, don't lie to them because you're going to lose their trust when they find out you did. So help your children use words that express their feelings, such as happy, sad, angry. They shouldn't be expected to be brave or tough. Tell them it's okay to cry. Don't give them more information than they can't handle at the same time. Assure fearful children you will be there to take care of them. I think this is harder, especially for parents that were working, their business got shut down, so they're stuck at home. And so are their kids. And then you've got, the first responders and their kids. They know mommy and daddy are going to the hospital to work with sick people. Can you imagine, their fear? Mommy and daddy are going to catch this COVID that's going around.
Well, the other thing that people need to do with their children is to make sure that your money issues or your problems that you're having between each other aren't pushed onto them as well.
Right. Let's see, Dennis. What upsets me is children now having to deal with abusive homes. And you know what? That's an absolutely big problem is you got more people stuck at home. And the divorce rate's gone up. The domestic violence has gone up because now people are stuck with their abusers. So it's not just about a pandemic. It's not just about a virus, but it's about human nature. It's about humans. You were happy because your husband or wife was going to work because you didn't have to deal with them anymore, and now they're home. And now you got kids that are seeing that abuse or being abused. People deal with it. That's irritating. I'll just shut up now. So let's talk about your pets. So we already, we jumped from abuse to pets. No, don't abuse your pets. So getting disaster preparedness with pets. And yes, I am jumping because I want to get away from that topic. Don't beat on anybody. If you have to, leave. It's really that simple. Leave.
Unless it's a thief, beat on them just a little.
Well, I'm not going to say it. I won't beat on them just a little.
Well, every day. You lock them up and beat them just a little every day.
God, okay.
It gets you through quarantine.
Hang them up in the garage.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Be advised. You're going to be hung up in my damn garage.
It's a pandemic. That doesn't make you Leatherface. Okay.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
Anyway. So, companion animals. I do want to hit on this because we really didn't hit on it as far as disaster preparedness with, what?
What did you just say?
Companion animals.
Oh. I just said edibles.
We got those two. But,
not your companions.
What?
The dogs are not edible. Not yet.
Well,
Not
technically.
yet. Not yet. So, it's been a unique night, folks.
Yeah,
It's been a unique week. So, you have an emergency action plan for you and your kids. What we didn't mention, if you've got babies, if you've got infants, don't forget to pack extra diapers, extra formula, extra medication that you might be on. And talking about documents, I have a briefcase that I keep ready to grab and go. It's got a copy of all my insurance paperwork, social security cards, marriage license, everything that you just can't live without if it gets burned up or destroyed. It's in a briefcase. I grab it, I throw it in the truck, we roll. I suggest you all do that. When it comes to your animals, you should have a pet kit. It's got maybe a Ziploc bag of dog food, cat food, recent photo of your pet, all your health documents, your vaccination documents. Milk bone. Yep. Any medications they're on. Leash, if it's appropriate. Obviously, I wouldn't put my cat on a leash. She would probably chew through it. But a leash for your dog or your goldfish. Carriers. Make sure you have a carrier for each of your animals. If you have a cow, I feel for you. But
yeah, good luck putting them on a leash.
Well, halter. So if you have cows, have extra halters. Now, okay, let me clarify. If you have a 200 head of Holstein because you're a milking operation,
that's a lot of leashes.
That's a lot of leashes. Yeah. But again, that goes back to your emergency action plan for your farm. A lot of those I think of are the ones on Francis Road. Francis Road has flooding. That entire road floods every year. Those guys have emergency action plans.
I do got to say, kudos to the all the people in Upriver Whatcom, up in the area of Nooksack. They a lot of the farmers were asking for help. Mm-hmm. They just had a fairly large wildfire up there, and they were looking for horse trailers. And
that was the one in Deming.
Yes, they were looking for horse trailers and things to transport their animals, and also places to keep their animals while this was going on. And they were met with great replies.
Oh, yeah. Well, and kudos to the farming communities, because the farming communities throughout this whole thing have been great.
Yeah.
Farmers, generally speaking, take care of their own. They take care of their farmers. Horse people especially. Horse people that I've always known have always, for example, the Upriver group. Someone posted they're looking for somewhere to board horses, or they're looking for somewhere to learn horseback riding, and they got tremendous responses. Go here, go there. So Dennis says he selects carriers by how secure they are, how solid they are, and the correct size. Yeah, you don't want to put Chow Chow in a cat carrier. That wouldn't work. Have the appropriate carrier to the appropriate size animal you've got. You want to make sure you carry a list of contact numbers for you, such as your veterinarian, nearby shelters, emergency pet hospitals, things of that nature. That's what we need up here. We need a veterinarian up here. I've been pushing that for about 5-6 years, but they don't listen. There's always people up here. I'm a veterinary assistant certified, but no. So, aside from the kit, it's always best to be prepared at home and in your daily lives. Always make sure your pet wears an ID tag. You know what? Microchip them. There's so many. Oh my God! Just today, I think there are 3 missing dogs.
I think we should tattoo them.
Oh
really?
my God! Stop it.
That's just because you want a tattoo.
I'm just saying. 2 weeks left, people.
I want a sleeve.
2 weeks left.
Oh, stop it.
What, tattoo parlors are opening up?
No, till the government comes in and tattoos us all right.
Oh, yes, right. I forgot about that. Yeah, good call, Dennis. So Dennis says all my cats throughout the years were microchipped. So what a microchip does, if someone picks up your missing animal and takes it to the Humane Society, they can scan the chip and they'll have your address, your phone number. What?
I want them to put 2 microchips in the cat.
What's that?
The one for the Visa as well. That way, take it to the store.
Oh,
that tap thing.
So you know what? We had microchipping in the Army for our Army pets.
Oh, really?
Like 3 years ago. No, 15 years ago. It wouldn't be 3 years ago. I got out in 10 years ago.
You're old, remember?
So, yeah, I know. I forget. It feels like I was in the Army yesterday. Especially after talking to Tssinnie. But yeah, Fort Lewis, they had microchipping for all cats, dogs, whatnot that, we had so Army housing is just like, living in Mount Vernon. It's, side by side houses. If you don't live off base you live in an apartment, whatever. But we had microchipping offered. So I brought my Chow and my Maine Coon both from Germany. It sucked because they still had to be quarantined for 2 weeks in Seattle.
Pretty sure the cats didn't mind.
Quarantine?
Yeah, they
and
like being alone.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, make sure you have your contact numbers all listed. Make sure you have your immunization records because you don't want to pay for new rabies shots and heartworm shots and medication and all that for your cats and dogs. That gets spendy.
Going back to kids for a minute.
Yeah.
Make sure your kids know your freaking phone number.
And address.
Mostly your phone numbers, though. They
Right.
should know both of their parents' cell phone numbers, or if they have one parent, or if they have a grandparent, whatever. They should know an emergency contact number off by heart.
Absolutely. Our kids knew them at the age of 5 and 6.
Yeah, but
And
don't
that
just
was a
have
pain in
them.
the ass because they'd draw our phone number on the wall, and that was Look, Mommy. Yeah, it's great that you know our phone number, but wash it off. Yeah.
Yeah, but make sure they really do know them by heart, and it isn't just saved in a cell phone somewhere. Because there are going to be certain things that happen, like if, for instance, there were a house fire and everyone was to be able to leave, but they weren't able to get their cell phone out with them.
Right.
Then they can go to a neighbor's house and they can contact people if they didn't end up meeting up at the proper spot or whatever.
Absolutely, Dennis. Phone numbers, kids are so used to iPhones, they don't memorize the numbers. And so you're not going to always have your phone on you. You have to run out of the house in a fire, and are you going to remember to grab your phone? Not always. And if you don't have those numbers memorized, well, there you go. So
That is true. The first thing a kid would save would be their cell phone. Second thing would be the Wi-Fi.
Right.
Even though it won't do them a lick of good in a fire. They'd try.
So hot weather precautions. Stay indoors and air condition as best you can. I get it. Not everyone's got air conditioning. We don't. But just...
Fans work great with ice right behind them.
Yep. Fans work great with ice. Open the windows.
Don't leave your fridge open.
No, that don't work. And people, you hear about it all the time. This kid died because they were left in the car. Someone's dog died. Someone's cat died. Don't leave animals or your kids.
Or yourself.
Well, I wouldn't expect that, but
It has happened.
It has
Some people
happened,
didn't
yes.
think that it was that bad, and then they actually went to drive away, and look, they were sitting at their lunch break in their vehicle, went to drive away, and they got dizzy and got into a car accident because of it.
I'm gonna be nice. But Darwin comes to mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you can be affected by the heat more than you're aware. Honestly, make sure you're pushing fluids. Electrolytes. Electrolytes is really important. So if you can find, Pedialyte, it's nasty tasting, yes, but Pedialyte has electrolytes in it that are good for absorbing the fluid into your tissue. Just drinking water doesn't necessarily absorb enough into your tissues. Get electrolytes.
If you have a hot tub at your house and you like to use it after a long day at work or anything, make sure, even though the nights still do get a little bit chilly, drop the temperature in your hot tub by 5 degrees.
Down to 80.
Well, no, normally they sit about 105, so drop them down to 100 to 95. That way, because if you keep that up there, you're not going to notice it when you're sitting in there, but when you get out,
be dizzy.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big sign right there. If you get up, you're lightheaded. that's a big sign for dehydration. Not even in the summer, but any time. Because so we used to do what's called tilts. So a big check for dehydration, if you have a blood pressure cuff, the stethoscope, is you start out laying down, check blood pressure. Then you stand up and check it immediately. If there's a 5-degree or a 5 number fluctuation between the systolic and diastolic, you're probably dehydrated because it takes a lot more for your blood to pump.
I used to tilt.
I'm sure you did.
Oh.
Every night coming out of the bar.
Especially on the merry-go-round. Oh, okay. Yeah. And that leads to the next one. So drink plenty of fluids, but avoid beverages that contain alcohol.
Well, okay.
And caffeine. Well, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, but here's the thing. You can still have them, but have them in moderation, and always make sure, like let's say for every 2 alcoholic beverages, you have 1 full glass of water.
Yep. Absolutely.
Isn't that what the ice is for?
Or anything with a lot of sugar. Yeah, the other thing is a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
So that's Gatorade, Kool-Aid. How many people put a ton of Kool-Aid into their, or a ton of sugar into the Kool-Aid mix? That doesn't help. It quenches your thirst for a second, but it doesn't rehydrate you. Eat more frequently, but make sure meals are balanced and light. So maybe have a salad for lunch or a salad for dinner, and eat snacks throughout the day. You don't have to eat a heavy dinner.
Yeah, in the summer a lot we do sandwiches for dinner. That way you're not heating up your home. By cooking something, you are
Lots of salad.
not heating up your body by eating something really hot.
Absolutely. Avoid dressing babies in heavy clothing or wrapping them in warm blankets. And these should be common sense things, but people do it. That's why they got to send out these lists. And it's darling. But
Light cotton material for your baby.
Absolutely.
If you're inside, keep them in their diaper. Frick, who cares?
Yep.
You're at home.
Yep.
You're walking around in your underwear. Why can't they?
And Dennis says cucumber sandwiches midday. I learned that from living in England for a while. They had the right idea.
Oh, yeah, those are so good.
Cucumber sandwiches?
Oh, yeah.
So check frequently on people who are elderly, ill, or who may need help. And that goes back to, so map your neighborhood. Let's talk about that for a second. So I've got some of the booklets. If you want them, just contact me. I can get them to you, especially if you're local. And so the Map Your Neighborhood program, it's a booklet that everybody gets. It's got a grid square map. And what you do is you take your street. It's really geared for, blocks. You write down all the houses. So house, and you number them. So house number 1 is the Smiths. House number 2 is the Fredericks. House number 3 is the Joneses. And in that block, you've got what their skills are. So, the Smiths, Mrs. Smith is a nurse. Mr. Fredericks is a carpenter. The Joneses, now they're elderly and disabled. These are things you want to pay attention to. So if anything happens, or even if it's just a really hot day, and you're all inside, you might want to go check on the Joneses, just to see how they're doing. See, they might be down, they might be suffering from heat exhaustion or something. This is where the Map Your Neighborhood program comes in, and specifically, if there's a disaster, if there's the volcano goes off, there's a flood, anything affecting your neighborhood. What's really cool about these booklets, on the back, it's got a rip out. One side says help, the other side says okay. So the Joneses fell, but they can't get outside. They put help in the window on this paper. So as you're walking down the street and you see the Fredericks, you see OKs in the window, you see the Joneses OKs in the window, but the Smiths have help in their window. The Smiths need help. That's the first place you're going to go. Great program. It's kind of you have a block watch meeting. You pass these booklets out to all your neighbors. They all fill it out. Everyone's got a copy of all the skills. And this is really where trust comes in. You've got to know which neighbors to trust. And maybe you have an idea who not to trust. I'm not going to go into that. But if you can read people enough to know that, okay, these people might be shady, I'm not going to trust them with my information. You get that a lot. You really do. Especially when you try pushing out the Map Your Neighborhood program. So we're coming down to the last 15 minutes of the show. I hope you enjoyed it tonight. I hope you learned something. Again, disaster preparedness is something that we generally do seasonally. But we have done a lot more in 2020 here because we had the pandemic. We've done a few pre-pandemic shows, a couple, what are we doing now with this pandemic? It is a very, very real situation. Everyone's got their opinion of where it came from or what caused it and whatnot. You know what? That's really irrelevant. The relevant part is there are people dying. It is way far worse than the flu. Just stay home, people. Stay home so you're not a cause of the spread. And
I'm going to say something else about the whole sun in the summertime.
Okay.
Wear sunscreen. Put sunscreen on your kids. Make sure that your skin is protected from that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like what Dennis said, and we kind of said this earlier in the show. Take a certified first aid course. Red Cross offers them. But you shouldn't. I'm going to clarify this really quick. A first aid course should not cost more than a maximum of $30. If you're paying more than $30,
they do though. Okay, I know they shouldn't.
Most of the organizations I've talked to, I've seen everything from 100, and that's with your basic first aid CPR. Mm-hmm. But I've also seen them offer for 40.
Right.
So
and actually
shop around.
They also do online educational materials for while this is happening. Right. Not as great as being there in person, for sure. But it shows you basics. Very, very basics. But still basics. And probably a good thing to go over. Just to have the basics of what to put on a burn, what to put on that type of thing.
What not to put on a burn?
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't put oil on a burn, folks. Unless you want to cook yourself. But that's another topic for another.
Sunbathers.
No, I say cannibalism.
Oh, geez.
Cooking yourself. So Cole, where can folks find out about the new program we're pushing?
So if you go to Facebook and type in S-4 Paranormal Radio, it will bring you to our Facebook page, and the first post in there is about our new giveaway. So for our new giveaway, we are every week, in the month of May, we will be giving away an S4 swag bag. The last bag of the month will be an extra large bag with added items into it. So make sure you go there. You need to be, you have to like the page in order to win. And then I need you to go to s4radiowinner@gmail.com. And so send us an email. And in that email, you are going to give us a
story.
Paranormal encounter.
Yeah, one of your paranormal encounters or one that you know of. And each week we will pick one of them out and...
we might even call them up on the show and have them actually tell the story.
Yeah,
you can ask some questions.
If you're available, we might even get you on the show to talk about it. And but we'll pick one out and discuss it on the show. And then we'll throw everyone's name in a hat and pick a winner out of that. The last week, everyone who's even won in the previous weeks will be eligible again. The last week is the main prize, so make sure you get your entries in. I'm sharing this across all of the groups that we're in, so it's even in the Forest Moon Paranormal page.
Absolutely.
So make sure you get them in. That's going to be awesome.
And for our locals, you can also find it on the Concrete and Upriver page.
Now, let's say you don't want to wait for that, and you're not sure if you want that particular item that we're giving away that week.
Go to the store.
Yeah, we have a store on our webpage, www.s4radio.com.
You can get shower curtains.
Yeah,
I
we've
have
got
mine
shower
yet.
curtains, we've got mugs, we've got stickers, we've got everything. Even notebooks.
Yeah.
We've got some very cool
Notebooks
notebooks
are
on
cool.
there. Yeah. And the store is through threadless.com, but we did order all of these items beforehand ourselves to check on the quality of them, and they are great. I still have all my stickers. They attach them to my coffee cup in my car. So,
I think Dennis is pushing to earn himself a swag bag already. He's pushing our information out. So, Dennis, send me your address and we'll send you some swag.
also, for those of you that are local, we still have the GoFundMe going for Janet Clark. She lost her home 3 weeks ago in the Cape here, and if you could donate, if you can't donate, we understand it's a hard time on everyone.
But share it.
Share it for me. If you're not within the group and you still want to help out, if you go to my personal page on Facebook, it's you spell my name COLEWEGLEITNER, and you can find me on Facebook there. And on my personal page, you will find the GoFundMe account. So,
Excellent.
please help out if you can.
And who do we have next week?
Next week we have Chris Garcia. He
Outstanding.
is
So
psychic and clairvoyant.
We're going to talk psychic and clairvoyant in the paranormal. His specialty interest is missing people, so I do want to ask him some questions how he identifies missing people. And maybe he's got some information on 2020. We'll see. And on the 10th, we have Rosella C. Rowe. So she is a children's author for Gypsy Publications. She also has a new book coming out. And she is planning a Haunted Ireland cruises, going to some awesome locations in Ireland. We'll be talking about that more. She also has my Haunted Travel blog. So you can find all... We'll be interviewing her on the 10th. If you want to be a guest, if you have written a book, if you've got your own blog, if you've got your own paranormal experiences, you want to talk about it on the show, send me an email, medicyne_eagle@yahoo.com. That's Medicine Eagle with a Y. So, with that, what?
Just want to leave them with something. As most of you know, we're still in lockdown. We're still in quarantine. Keep it up, guys. You're doing great. For those of you that don't want to do it, Charles Darwin says you don't have to, so go ahead. Yeah.
You know what? And Australia opened up their beaches and locked them down 5 days later because their cases spiked. So if you think this is all fake and it's conspiracy and it's bullshit and you're violating my rights, go ahead and go out. I hope you get it.
Yeah. Well,
I'll go there.
you got silent in here.
If you're stupid enough to think it's all BS, if you want to listen to random doctors that really don't know what the hell they're talking about.
What you gotta remember, guys, is this isn't just about your safety. It's about everyone around you. And the last thing that our first responders, that our essential workers, that all this need right now is extra people out there.
Absolutely.
With the potential for getting them, their parents, their grandparents, their kids, whoever sick.
That's why I might sound cold-hearted and I might sound like an asshole. But you know what? If you're stupid enough to ignore the facts, and the facts are the case of the matter, when they do open up things, all of a sudden the virus spikes. Maybe that should be your sign.
And I have actually seen this. If you are driving alone in your vehicle, you do not need to wear a mask.
No, I heard about a case of somebody actually passed out because they were wearing a mask driving their car. Yeah. Use common sense, people. You're not going to get the virus just driving by yourself in your car. It's mainly for protecting you in stores.
And
Keep your
it's
social
mainly
distance.
for protecting others.
And Dennis, when you
That
check
too.
out the shower curtains, make sure you check out the troll one. That one was my favorite of them.
The troll.
Yeah,
We have a troll shower curtain. Oh, you go
Absolutely.
check that one out too. I like the alien ones.
I like the Yeti. The Yeti is my favorite.
Absolutely. And we do have bumper stickers on hand. So if you're local, you want one, they're $5. You'll see one on both my truck and Cole's van.
and if you're not local, you can still send it to us, and they're $5.90.
Yeah, just
Well,
enough to cover,
$6.
just enough to cover shipping.
Yep.
So with that, stay safe, folks. Look forward to seeing you here in the chat room next week. And remember, keep your eyes to the skies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on S4, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. You can contact S4 through our website at www.s-4radio.com or on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like on our page and join the Forest Moon Paranormal group. If you are interested in advertising, take a look at our packages and contact Cole or Eric at 1-360-999-2830. Again, thank you. And remember, keep your eyes to the sky.